Under a bright, cloudy sky, a powerful emotional plea echoes, "I want to live." A modern building stands tall against a clear blue sky, hinting at an urban or institutional setting. Medical documents reveal Isaac's diagnosis with a rare, unknown disease, implying his name will be forever tied to it. Isaac clutches his shirt, a look of profound despair and anxiety etched on his face. He stands amidst a bustling city, feeling utterly isolated, as a dire prognosis declares he has 6 months at most to live. Lost in thought, Isaac bumps into a passerby on the crowded street, seemingly unaware of his surroundings. Isaac stares ahead, horrified, as onlookers whisper about his distraught appearance, while he internally protests, "This can't be." A traffic light turns red, and Isaac reflects on his diligent, ant-like work ethic, making his unfair fate even more bitter. Isaac steps into the busy street, oblivious to the cars and traffic, completely lost in his grim thoughts. A concerned person shouts, urging him to move it and warning him of the dangerous traffic. Overwhelmed by his diagnosis, Isaac collapses onto the pavement, unable to process his sudden, tragic fate. Tears stream down Isaac's face as he laments his unfair death sentence. He clutches a winning lottery ticket, realizing the crushing irony that he won big on the very day he received a death sentence. Isaac prostrates himself on the wet street, desperately clinging to life and reaffirming his fervent wish, "I want to live." Weeping, Isaac pleads for anything but death, promising to be, quote, "happy with anything else, if only he could survive." With a desperate cry, Isaac passionately begs for his life, screaming, "Don't let me die." The scene dramatically shifts to a powerful, armored skeleton with glowing red eyes, signaling a new, darker reality. He muses on his reincarnation as a bald skeleton and humorously laments his inability to perform basic human functions in this new body. The skeleton, now the Lich, glares menacingly at a horde of grotesque monsters before him. A close-up emphasizes the Lich's burning red eyes, filled with determination and power. The Lich furiously attacks the monstrous creatures, vowing to kill them all with his dark, fiery power. His blood-splattered weapon signals the brutal progress of the battle, leaving the Lich with a surprised reaction. A powerful monster charges, but the Lich expertly intercepts, ready to deliver a devastating blow. The monster roars in agony as the Lich's attack connects, tearing through its flesh. The Lich expresses satisfaction as the battle nears its conclusion, sensing victory. The Lich declares the fight over, commanding his foe to die before unleashing a final, destructive burst of power. He prepares to strike down the last remaining enemy, ensuring total victory. The final monster collapses, utterly defeated, as the Lich declares the battle done. Subjugation of the rebel forces is complete. The Lich walks away from the carnage, recalling his reincarnation as a low-ranking, quote, skeleton. He remembers his evolution into the formidable undead king, the Lich, with a mystical planet in the background. Surrounded by a revived army of demon outlaws, the Lich is hailed as the king, the immortal king. Isaac, the Lich, feels flattered as his devoted followers enthusiastically chant his name, Isaac. His monstrous followers cheer loudly, their faces alight, with fervent admiration for Isaac. The chibi-style Lich exasperatedly corrects his followers, insisting on his name being Isaac, not Kim Isaac. A follower asks the Demon King where he's going, and Isaac declares he's off to get his payment. The Lich, Isaac, expresses his ultimate goal, to experience human pleasures like eating bad food and relieving himself. His profound desire to become a human is clearly stated, despite his current powerful undead form. Panic erupts in a grand, ethereal divine realm as a monstrous creature charges, terrifying the inhabitants. The Lich arrives in the divine realm, confronting a group of majestic, powerful beings seated on thrones. The Lich ascends the ornate stairs of the divine palace, his imposing presence filling the sacred space. The Lich boldly confronts the divine beings, demanding they fulfill their contract to make him human after he defeated their enemies. The divine beings are visibly shocked by his rapid success, having expected him to take at least 500 years to complete the task, one muttering, "He's crazy." "I can hear you." The Lich impatiently demands why they are prolonging the discussion, reminding them of their explicit promise to restore his humanity. The golden-haired divine leader smirks, suggesting Isaac undertake one more job, clearly testing his patience. Isaac's skeleton head shows a clear vein popping, indicating his rising frustration, thinking even as a skeleton, they should know his limits. Isaac's eyes blaze with rage as he curses them for attempting to enslave him, vowing to fuck them up, even if they are gods. Isaac unleashes a burst of dark energy, angrily questioning if the gods made him work, without knowing how to fulfill their end of the bargain. Two divine beings express concern as they realize Isaac has noticed their true intentions, with the green-haired woman stating she was against their deceit from the beginning. Isaac, as the Lich, furiously demands answers, asserting his undead nature and threatening to destroy them if they cannot uphold their promise to restore his humanity. The Lich's red energy intensifies as he warns the divine beings that he possesses the power to bring the entire divine realm to ruin. The divine beings, including the red-haired woman, desperately plead for more time, suggesting additional tasks as compensation for their failure to fulfill their promise to Isaac. Isaac's rage boils over and he declares his intent to kill all the divine beings, prompting one to recoil in shock, calling him a crazy bastard. Isaac unleashes a powerful blast of dark energy, laughing menacingly as he vows to turn all the divine beings into skeletons like himself. The divine beings are overwhelmed, recoiling in terror from Isaac's destructive power as explosive energy fills the sacred space. Isaac laughs triumphantly, enjoying his display of power, but his expression shifts to confusion as his glowing hand flickers. Isaac appears bewildered, trying to move his arms and use his magic, questioning why his formidable powers have suddenly vanished. The long-haired divine leader smirks, revealing a sinister intention as he declares Isaac's struggles are useless. The divine leader continues to reveal his true power, stating that the name he is about to write will be bound. The long-haired divine leader confidently asserts that the one whose name he writes will be utterly immobilized by his divine power. Isaac's name appears etched onto a small, dark, bug-like creature, signaling his shocking transformation and immobilization, leaving him stunned. The divine beings stand together before their grand palace, proudly explaining that this high-class divine technique was used to seal disasters like Isaac in the past. One divine being dismisses Isaac as a mere demon, stating he should be grateful to have served as their tool. The divine leader cruelly declares Isaac's new fate, commanding him to live as a bug. The long-haired divine leader mockingly scolds the tiny bug, Isaac, for still being obsessed with hair, while Isaac internally ponders his absurd new form. The long-haired divine leader reacts with surprise, as if sensing something unexpected from the sealed Isaac. Isaac, in his bug form, sarcastically mocks the gods for thinking he would simply endure his fate, declaring he would rather die than be trapped as a bug. The divine beings cry out, urging Isaac to wait, as he prepares to take a drastic, self-destructive action. Isaac's final message to the divine beings echoes in a thought bubble, a vulgar insult expressing his ultimate defiance. Isaac self-destructs in a massive burst of light and power, creating an explosive defiance against his capture. The aftermath of Isaac's powerful self-destruction shakes the divine realm, scattering debris and light. The divine beings are left stunned and disoriented by the blast, lamenting that the crazy demon killed himself and questioning his sanity. The red-haired woman and the blonde man among the divine beings examine the tiny bug, confirming that the sealing ritual was successful despite Isaac's actions, and the woman lets out a relieved ugh. The red-haired woman smiles in relief, confirming the Demon King's soul is sealed, expressing satisfaction that their plan succeeded. The divine beings express their relief and anticipation of regaining their powers now that the Demon King is gone, since they absorb power when demons disappear. The scene shifts to reveal a new divine plan. They will create a perfect vessel of a saint in the human world to deal with future threats. The new plan specifies that this saintly vessel will be used to kill all the demons, One divine being asks about the power cost, but another reassures them, stating they will simply place a soul into the saint's body. The blonde divine being holds the bug-like object, stating that the, quote, cocky skeleton demon king will be forever trapped inside the bug, intending to humble him. The blonde divine being smiles with sinister pleasure, holding the bug-like form of Isaac, confident in his victory. Isaac internally realizes he has been scammed by the gods as he perceives bright light through a window-like structure. Isaac is overwhelmed by the intense brightness, lamenting that as a bug, he has no hands to shield his eyes from the light. Isaac reacts with surprise to the sensation of soft skin and warmth, realizing he now has human hands. Isaac, reborn as a bewildered baby, gasps in a thought bubble, "I'm a human?" The baby Isaac wonders if the gods' sealing ritual went wrong since they detested him, while a voice exclaims, "Oh my saint!" A woman and a man, acting as caregivers, stand over the baby Isaac in his cradle, with the woman happily announcing the saint has woken up, leaving Isaac confused. The caregivers express mild annoyance that the baby woke up, wishing he had slept longer. Isaac internally questions the identities of these new people, wondering if they are nannies, and reconfirms to himself that he has truly become human. The caregivers express regret about their task, but state it is their job, with the woman apologizing to the saint as they prepare for what's next. The male caregiver holds a glowing baby bottle, telling Isaac he needs to fall asleep again. The baby Isaac looks distressed, internally protesting, "No," and resisting the idea of falling asleep in peace. A baby cries loudly as Isaac internally protests, having just died once, and demands to know if they intend for him to die again. Isaac's internal protest continues, questioning, "But you want me to die again?" The male caregiver smiles sinisterly, declaring he will make the saint sleep for eternity, holding the glowing bottle. The caregivers force the glowing liquid into the baby Isaac's mouth through the bottle, causing him to struggle before he finally succumbs to sleep. The caregivers express frustration that Isaac isn't eating, huffing, while Isaac internally scoffs, stating he won't eat anything suspicious after just becoming human. Isaac internally ponders the perplexing situation, questioning why he was even turned human in the first place. The female caregiver instructs Sir Isaac to act like a baby and sleep, causing Isaac to react with confusion upon hearing his own name. Baby Isaac is shocked, realizing someone just called him by his name. A flashback shows Isaac's demon followers chanting, "Lord Isaac," as he clarifies it's an alternate pronunciation of his true name, Yishak. The long-haired divine leader smirks as Isaac, in a thought bubble, realizes the gods must have used Isaac instead of his actual name during the sealing. The baby Isaac happily realizes he was not sealed because of the name discrepancy and was also reincarnated into a body with the same name. A chibi-lich Isaac angrily curses the foolish gods for their carelessness in failing to seal him, while below, the caregivers force more liquid into the baby's mouth. The caregivers struggle to hold the flailing baby Isaac, expressing shock at how strong he is. Baby Isaac internally questions if the vegetable juice is a disgusting concoction meant to subdue him, sensing something ominous entering his newly human body. Something ominous is entering my body. The scene shifts to a bright, ethereal realm, identifying the location as the, quote, Holy Helen Empire Central Eastern Temple. A grand, ornate temple building stands majestically under a clear, bright sky, showcasing its elaborate architecture. A man in white and gold robes, an older bishop, walks confidently through the temple, followed by a woman. Another robed figure comments on the bishop's unusually good mood. An imposing figure is revealed as Alexander Heathcliff Hella, the emperor of the Holy Helen Empire, looking dignified in his regal attire. Various robed figures, including the bishop, bow respectfully to the emperor, formally greeting the son of the empire. The emperor questions why a bishop is present, indicating a matter of importance or protocol. The bishop explains that the Joshua family has arrived to offer greetings to the saint candidate and expresses the Sanctus Sati's concern for the saint. The emperor, Alexander, agrees that given the importance of the saint, the bishop's personal presence is appropriate. The bishop subtly warns the emperor that it would be unfortunate if an accident were to happen to the saint after being entrusted to the Sanctus Satis. Yeah. A sudden scream erupts, and the Emperor and Bishop both react with alarm and shock to an unexpected event. The Bishop's eyes widen in horror as he hears someone screaming about the young master. Tap tap. The Emperor, hearing frantic footsteps, desperately demands to know where his son is as he rushes forward. A female caregiver panics, shouting about the young master as the Emperor looks on in stunned realization. A bright, starburst patterned panel declares, "So cute!" suggesting the state of the missing young master. Qua! Baby Isaac is seen happily gurgling and giggling while drinking from his bottle, with the caregivers cooing about his chubby belly and calling him an angel. The bishop and another robed figure are utterly shocked, finding it impossible that the baby is still alive after consuming the awful-tasting liquid, with the bishop's power flaring in disbelief. The bishop, surrounded by dark energy, realizes with dread that the liquid was not just vegetable juice. Isaac's eye reacts as the male caregiver forcefully administers the glowing liquid, confirming Isaac's internal thought that something ominous is entering his body. Not again. Baby Isaac is shocked, recognizing the green liquid from the bottle as Hallowbane, a fatal demon poison. Chibi Skeleton Isaac and Baby Isaac excitedly declare that the magic baby food is amazing, as it will turn him into a formidable being like his past self, eagerly wanting to drink plenty more. Moa! Baby Isaac loudly demands another bottle, thrashing in his crib, causing the surprised caregivers to wonder if he's asking for more, feeling they can now understand him. The male caregiver, smiling, assures Isaac that the, quote, vegetable juice doesn't work immediately, as Isaac happily drinks more. Hell yeah! Isaac gives a thumbs up, feeling incredibly good, celebrating the mana absorption and complimenting the efficiency of whoever put the mana in the liquid. Now then, Isaac's eyes open as he resolves to leave the conscious world and descend into the subconscious, reaching for the deepest point. Isaac, as a small, glowing baby figure, descends further into the blue, watery depths of the subconscious. Plop! Isaac gleefully plunges further into the world of origin, where the mana core is made, confident in his safety there. Isaac focuses, gathering the absorbed mana into a swirling red energy to form a mana core. Isaac is shocked and terrified, as the mana he is gathering unexpectedly causes a, quote, magic explosion. Isaac stares in disbelief at the exploding white mana core, questioning why it's not the normal tricolored. Isaac realizes the color isn't the issue. The immense energy of the core, which far exceeds expectations, despite him not having gathered all his mana. The mana core pulses with intense, raw red energy, its power described as far exceeding all expectations. Isaac wonders how many blessings are crammed into his young body, realizing that by working on this, he could become a far greater monster than he ever imagined. A triumphant Chibi Isaac smiles, happily envisioning himself becoming an even greater monster. The name Isaac glows as a hand reaches out, signifying a desperate need to survive, and a man cries, expressing his overwhelming desire to survive, hinting at his past life's core drive. A skeleton lich, likely a past version of Isaac, appears with swirling red energy, signifying his previous desire to create special buffs and skills. Isaac realizes he has inherited these spells in his current body. A chibi baby Isaac floats above, while below, vast electrical storms of red and blue energy indicate the immense magical power he now possesses. The male caregiver asks if Isaac is finally dead, instructing the female caregiver to check. The female caregiver reaches out to check on Isaac, then recoils in shock, exclaiming that he's still alive. Baby Isaac gurgles happily, demanding more of the magic baby food, and even a stronger version, much to the male caregiver's surprise. Isaac internally reflects on his near assassination, concluding that nothing much happened, while the Emperor expresses relief about the situation. The bishop appears troubled, questioning Isaac's state, while Isaac internally wonders if he consumed too much. Isaac decides to play dumb and smile, knowing he cannot afford to arouse any suspicion yet. The bishop is utterly baffled by Isaac's unexpected resilience, having expected the potent liquid to at least make him bleed, but instead, he appears unaffected. The bishop's face contorts in rage, believing Isaac is mockingly laughing at him despite the poison. The scene transitions to a flashback a few days ago at the Central Papacy, revealing the rule that the saint will govern the Holy Empire. A person holds a golden chalice, dismissing the fierce competition for the saintly title as a joke. The long-haired man, Hilly expresses his annoyance that every family, even those of low standing, is claiming their child is the saint. The bishop reassures Hilly that other saint candidates are being dealt with, as Hilly sips from his chalice, confirming the plan. The bishop smirks, revealing he's heard disturbing rumors. A floating speech bubble indicates the rumor of a saint candidate from House Joshua. Hilly eyes glow sinisterly as red liquid splashes from his chalice, emphasizing his anger and dark intentions. The bishop expresses concern about House Joshua, acknowledging their powerful position as the emperor's right arm, implying they cannot be easily targeted. Clang! Hilly violently smashes his chalice, asserting that the Joshua child should be dead upon their arrival, confirming he has already handled the situation, leaving the bishop shocked. Hilly, identified as the patriarch of House Barrett and Cardinal, grins menacingly with glowing eyes, fully embracing his villainous role. A simple circular panel against a dark background serves as a narrative break, indicating the subject of House Barrett. A chapter title card, bearing Korean text and a skull icon, marks the beginning of Chapter 2. The bishop stares at baby Isaac, bewildered that he is still alive despite the poison he was given. The bishop's face contorts in fury as he vehemently declares Isaac's survival cannot happen. The emperor observes Isaac, remarking on his shining silver hair, which matches the empire's founder, and questions the bishop's knowledge, much to the bishop's discomfort. Isaac internally recognizes the man as the emperor. The emperor praises Isaac, stating he seems closer to God than the current pope, affirming him as the final saint candidate. Isaac is shocked by the saint candidate title, while the bishop seethes, realizing the emperor favors Isaac and that this development must be stopped. The bishop proposes taking care of Isaac, and the emperor questions his reason. The bishop expresses concern about Isaac consuming too much vegetable juice, but the emperor dismisses it, stating it is suitable for the saint candidate. Isaac internally laments his fate as a demon lord being a saint candidate, while the bishop insists on taking custody due to his suspicions. A speech bubble on a black screen announces that a representative from House Joshua will arrive before further actions can be taken. Purple dark mana visibly leaks from baby Isaac's mouth, shocking the bishop. The bishop stares in disbelief at baby Isaac as undigested dark mana floats around him. Isaac internally panics, wondering if his true nature has been discovered. Isaac stares in wide-eyed terror as the bishop's hand reaches towards him, a tense silence hanging in the air. The bishop declares that he just sensed dark mana emanating from Isaac. The emperor smirks at the bishop's suspicion, while the bishop silently fumes, thinking Isaac is a bastard. Isaac reacts with distressed surprise, internally questioning if the bishop has truly figured him out. Isaac internally realizes the bishop suspects him of being a false candidate and plans to consult an inquisitor, making Isaac curse his predicament. The emperor expresses his disapproval of the bishop's accusations against the, quote, precious saint candidate, then reassures him. The emperor reveals that the pope has already chosen a candidate from House Barrett as the next saint, astonishing the bishop. The emperor expresses disdain for the pope choosing a candidate from his own house, while Isaac internally understands this is why the bishop wants him gone. Now then, over a shot of feet on a bed, indicating a shift in focus or imminent action. The bishop, holding a distressed baby Isaac, furiously declares his intention to bring in the inquisitor, while Isaac internally curses him. Wait! The emperor extends a hand, stopping the bishop. The emperor asserts that House Joshua is a close ally and, as emperor, he strongly recommends continued consideration for Isaac. The bishop, holding Isaac, acknowledges the emperor's words. The bishop continues, relaying another statement from the emperor. The emperor, surrounded by dark power, declares that the crown prince's blessing depends on supporting his chosen saint, threatening to withhold it otherwise. Isaac internally seethes, cursing the cheap assholes and their manipulative power plays. Isaac internally acknowledges the critical danger, realizing it's bad for me if they discover his true identity. The bishop holding Isaac suggests they confirm Isaac's nature right now. The bishop raises his fist, preparing to use his exorcism powers on Isaac to confirm his suspicions. The bishop attempts to confirm Isaac's nature, asserting that if he's human, he'll be safe, but if he's a demon, he'll be instantly destroyed, as he unleashes a powerful magical attack. Isaac, seemingly unaffected by the blow, gurgles happily, causing blood to splatter as the bishop recoils, internally cursing the insolent bastard. Isaac resolves to act like a baby, intending to use strengthening magic to enhance his attacks. Gah! The bishop cries out in pain from Isaac's unexpected hit, astonished by the force of a baby's strike, wondering about its origin. The bishop mumbles about sensing divinity and believing the child is a saint, while Isaac internally notes the presence of divinity but acknowledges the strange nature of his true power. Isaac, glowing with unexpected power, looks surprised. The bishop is overwhelmed by Isaac's rapid, powerful blows, questioning the nature of the attack as he struggles to defend himself. The emperor is shocked by the dark mana emanating from Isaac, which others mistakenly perceive as bright light. Isaac inwardly plans to use strengthening magic on the baby bottle and continue his act as a cute, innocent baby. The bishop is visibly impressed by Isaac's divinity, while Isaac internally labels him a, quote, stubborn bastard. Isaac observes a glowing, hourglass-shaped object, realizing that a weak divine mana accompanies his dark mana whenever he uses it. Isaac deduces that the seemingly opposite divine and dark mana are somehow connected to his white mana core, allowing him to use them together. The bishop clutches his face in fear and pain, while Isaac watches with a hint of concern. The bishop, from a distance, vehemently declares Isaac a heretic to the emperor and others, swearing on his being to prove it. The bishop, off-panel, insists that an exorcism must be conducted immediately. Isaac glares, internally calling the bishop a stubborn bastard. Isaac gurgles innocently, internally stating he didn't want to do this, but the bishop possesses something interesting. Isaac's tiny hand emits glowing purple dark mana, revealing a chained object as the bishop reacts with a sudden realization. The bishop's eyes widen in utter shock, sweat beading on his face from the intense magical aura. The object is a totem, the banished remains of a high-ranking demon, used to absorb the power of its kind and as a last resort against demons. The bishop is astounded, questioning how an infant could know about such a totem, as Isaac grins mischievously. The bishop is startled as Isaac throws the chained totem, sending it spiraling through the air. Isaac's inner monologue taunts the bishop, promising to show him something in return for his persistence. A black screen with a vibrant purple glow indicates Isaac's resolve to reveal something in return. Isaac conjures a massive, shadowy demon, terrifying the onlookers who scream in horror and question why a demon has appeared. Isaac smiles menacingly as the summoned demon looms. The shadowy demon, identified as a shadow lich, appears, shocking the observers with its unexpected presence. The emperor furiously confronts Bishop Masabarit, demanding an explanation for the demon's appearance in the temple and questioning his sanity. The emperor, gesturing towards Isaac, dismisses the bishop's disbelief, explaining that Isaac just revealed a totem capable of reviving demons. The emperor commands his men to protect Isaac from the evil demon and the bishop, a command they immediately acknowledge and prepare to follow. The bishop looks distressed while a subordinate of the emperor holds Isaac, who makes a satisfied sound. Isaac, from the subordinate's shoulder, smirks internally, thinking the bishop deserves what he's getting. Isaac observes the powerful, hooded demonic figure, wondering about the bishop's true strength as the demon prepares for combat, surrounded by guards. The shadowy demon, referred to as the Saint, roars, "Kill the Saint," emanating pulsing red and purple energy. Isaac looks up, wide-eyed and surprised, questioning the demon's declaration. The demon repeats its command to, quote, "Kill the Saint," prompting the subordinate holding Isaac to declare they must protect the young master. The subordinate holding Isaac is confused, wondering why the demon he brought to life is now attacking him. Isaac contemplates his next move. Isaac observes the Holy Knights, confident that they will protect him from the demon's attack. The Holy Knights are rapidly defeated by the shadowy demon, collapsing in pain as the subordinate holding Isaac gasps in terror. The shadowy demon attacks, reiterating its command to kill the saint and demanding to save the imprisoned king. Elua, the subordinate holding Isaac, screams in pain and stumbles back, while Isaac internally decides he must stop the demon himself. Isaac subtly uses his mana, confident that nobody will notice his power amidst the ongoing chaos. The demon attacks again, screaming, "Kill!" as Isaac internally laments the constant attempts on his life. Isaac's eye glows intensely red, signaling his awakened power. A powerful skeletal lich, Isaac's past self, appears, sternly addressing the attacking demon as a, quote, "foolish little demon." The shadowy demon is shocked, questioning if the figure before it is the Skeleton King. Isaac, sitting on the floor surrounded by golden light, looks up in confusion. The Emperor and his subordinate are bathed in golden light, looking surprised as the shadowy figure remains. The Emperor appears surprised and slightly bewildered amidst the golden glow. A shadowy figure unleashes a powerful, glowing burst of energy in a dynamic display of power. The demon's face becomes visible, eyes glowing red amidst the intense energy and light. A woman watches in alarm as the shadowy demon swiftly flees through a doorway. Amidst an opulent room, voices exclaim that Lord Isaac defeated the high demon using holy power. Lord Isaac is lauded by his subordinates for his amazing power, holding the surprised baby Isaac. Isaac's hands glow with golden energy, and he realizes with surprise that it is indeed holy power. Isaac sits bewildered, wondering where he is, and realizes his energy has been completely drained. Isaac wonders in disbelief if his new body is converting his own mana into holy power. Isaac laments his inability to gather dark mana in this holy empire, as the protesting bishop is forcefully restrained. The enraged bishop vehemently accuses the child of being a heretic, claiming he uses demonic power. A man steps forward, declaring his intent to exorcise Isaac and expose his true identity. The restrained bishop accuses Lord Isaac of falsely labeling a saint candidate and releasing a high demon before the knights. Relai Joshua sternly addresses the bishop, acknowledging his high rank. The bishop recoils in fear, as Relai Joshua warns him of severe consequences. Erg. The bishop groans in distress, realizing his scheme has been exposed and a spy will soon be found. The bishop, despite his precarious position, resolves to protect his family, even if it harms the Sancta Sedis. The bishop's eyes narrow with desperate resolve, preparing for what's next. The bishop, consumed by rage, summons a massive, fiery beast, vowing to kill the saint candidate. The monstrous, glowing beast roars and lunges forward with incredible speed. The man holding Isaac observes that the bishop is finally revealing his true, stubborn self. Isaac scoffs, questioning if the bishop truly believes such a weak attack could harm him. As the beast attacks, Isaac's eyes widen in horror, realizing he has completely run out of mana. The attacking beast is abruptly halted, engulfed in a surge of powerful blue energy, shocking onlookers. A stern man with white hair appears, demanding to know who dares harm the child of Joshua. The imposing figure is recognized with shock as the devout Azure, accompanied by his knights. The powerful Knights of Joshua have arrived. The powerful rival is identified as Relai Joshua, the seventh son of House Joshua. Relai Joshua commands his knights to immediately arrest the kneeling bishop. The bishop rages against the Knights of Joshua, while Isaac suddenly recognizes the name Joshua. As Relai Joshua commands respect from the kneeling crowd, Isaac struggles to recall the name's significance. Relai Joshua apologizes to Lord Isaac for his late arrival, while Lord Isaac inwardly notes Relai's uptight yet commendable demeanor. Relai Joshua smiles, offering Lord Isaac a gift to atone for past mistakes. The knight reveals a collection of gold bars, prompting a surprised reaction. The knight proudly displays a figurine of a beheaded skeleton king, much to Isaac's utter confusion. Other knights excitedly show off more gruesome skeleton king figurines, overwhelming the distressed Isaac while calling him cute. Admiration for Isaac's cuteness is expressed. A tear wells up in Isaac's eye, showing his deep distress. Isaac despairs about surviving in this chaotic house, while others mistakenly believe his tears are from enjoyment. Isaac is overwhelmed and horrified by his predicament as the women dote on him, misinterpreting his distress as enjoyment. Isaac remembers the name Joshua, realizing it belongs to the saintess who once tried to defeat him. Isaac has a flashback to various Joshua family saintesses who confronted him, cursing his fate to be reborn into their lineage. Isaac, reflecting on his past life, curses the Joshua family, wondering what he did to deserve this fate. The bishop rages at the knights, condemning them as heretics and demanding to know the origin of the creature. The bishop, enraged, vows to reveal their true identities. As Relay Joshua draws his sword, the bishop recoils in terror, still threatening to annihilate the Joshua family. Relay Joshua wounds the bishop, warning him to be grateful that the Joshua family spared his life. The man holding Isaac contemplates Relay Joshua's potential usefulness, noting his loyalty to family and willingness to defy authority. The knights offer Isaac simplistic encouragement, telling him to only perceive good, while Isaac inwardly dismisses their uselessness. The knights laugh joyfully as Isaac vaguely recalls the Joshua of Blue as formidable past opponents. Snap, snap. The knights continue their gruesome play with skeleton figurines, overwhelming Isaac, who pleads for them to stop. Lord Isaac, holding the baby, expresses his gratitude to Relay Joshua. An imposing man from the imperial family asks Relay Joshua to announce their interest in raising the young master. Relay Joshua reacts with disbelief to the suggestion, while the baby internally wonders if the imperial family is scouting him. The imperial family representative warns Relay Joshua that the Holy Empire will target the baby, questioning the Joshua's ability to protect him from the devout Azure, leaving Relay silent. The baby is confused by the conversation, as the imperial representative explains the Pope's concern over the baby's hair color, which matches the Holy Empire's founder. The imperial representative suggests the Skeleton King might also pursue the baby, making the baby internally exclaim, "Unfair," and question why he would target himself. Relay Joshua apologizes, asserting that since the child is of the Joshua bloodline, they will raise him as one of their own. Relay Joshua confidently declares the Joshuas are more than capable of handling any threat, whether it be the Pope or the Skeleton King, while holding the baby. The imperial representative states he believes the previous saintess, Melissa, would be delighted to meet the Skeleton King again, then concurs with his own thought. Lord Isaac questions how they could give away a direct descendant of Saintess Melissa to the imperial family, prompting the baby to wonder about Melissa. The baby is shocked, realizing Melissa was the strongest and most challenging saintess he faced before attacking the divine realm. The baby is distraught, lamenting his fate of being born as a saint candidate and a direct descendant of Melissa. A glowing display introduces the concept of a saintess as the ultimate weapon, created after the Skeleton King's countless defeats, while the baby watches. The narrative describes saintesses as a god-created mace wielding holy light, the highest-ranking knights, whose overwhelming power was expected to swiftly defeat the Skeleton King. Various traits of saintesses are highlighted, including a cockroach-like survival instinct, self-sacrificing attacks, and long lifespans. However, the Skeleton King is shown engaged in a fierce, brutal battle, striking with immense power. The Skeleton King demonstrates his ruthlessness in combat, overpowering an opponent. The Skeleton King explains that he never killed a saintess because their holy energy would return to the gods, allowing for upgraded saintesses to be created. The baby appears visibly upset, realizing Melissa, who was strong enough to nearly defeat him, is actually his ancestor. Relay Joshua, holding the baby, smiles as he speaks of the saintess's unwavering desire for the Skeleton King's utter devastation. Relay Joshua asserts that the Joshuas alone produce saintesses and are tasked with defeating all who oppose God, confidently stating their ability to protect the child. Lord Isaac confirms the Joshua's mission and inquires about the number of fallen saintesses, while the baby internally denies killing any of them. Isaac recounts the Skeleton King trapping a saintess in a maze, while the baby internally frets about her bad sense of direction and complains that 5 saintesses died of frustration, suggesting they should have gone to a hospital. Riley Joshua reassures the baby of their protection even if he is cursed, but the baby is furious, internally wishing for a curse instead of their protection. Riley Joshua tells the baby they are grateful for his birth and that his parents only wish for him not to grow up like the evil Skeleton King. Riley Joshua happily expresses the desire for the baby not to become the evil Skeleton King as the baby looks distressed with a phantom skull image behind him. The baby, accompanied by a skull image, internally apologizes to his unknown parents for crushing their hopes and dreams. The Imperial representative advises Riley to reconsider, noting the Skeleton King was sealed 150 years ago, and questions if Melissa, who was 50 at their last encounter, should still be alive. The Imperial representative explains that Demonkin have gained influence since the Skeleton King's sealing, making the young master crucial for the Imperial family to assert control over the Holy Empire. The Imperial representative questions the current lack of a Joshua Saintess, revealing the Saintess who birthed the baby disappeared over a year ago, making the baby realize his mother is a Saintess. Riley Joshua asserts the Joshuas can protect the child despite the matriarch's absence, while the baby internally gives up, feeling nothing could surprise him after learning his mother is a Saintess. The Imperial representative asks if Dame Melissa is defeating the Skeleton King's subordinates, and Riley assures him she will return soon, eager to meet her grandson. The Imperial representative marvels at Melissa's over 300-year lifespan and asks Riley about the baby's distress, while the baby internally despairs, believing he won't get better as his lifelong enemy is still alive. The baby is terrified, certain that if Melissa discovers his true identity, he will be burned at the stake, stating she is the last person he wants to encounter. The Imperial representative holds the baby's hand, contemplating a strategy for survival. The baby happily babbles, appearing to ask the Emperor to take him along, which delights the Imperial representative. The Imperial representative remarks that the baby wants to go with the Imperial family, but Riley Joshua insists the baby is merely friendly as they both hold him. The Imperial representative argues the Imperial family can offer more, noting Joshua's produce saintesses but lack experience raising saints, while the Imperial family specializes in exorcists, aligning with the baby's destiny as a demon slayer, prompting Riley Joshua's disdain. The Imperial representative questions if the Imperial family also lacks experience raising saints, leading to a tense dispute between him and Riley over who is better, physically stretching the baby, while Lord Isaac pleads for them to stop. The distressed baby internally demands they stop fighting and states he is going to the Imperial family, desperate to avoid death. The Imperial representative smirks, poised to reveal additional information. The baby joyfully realizes that the light that points at life emanates from the Emperor, concluding that going with him offers a better chance of survival. The Imperial representative, glowing with light, commends the baby's wise choice. The baby's eyes widen in absolute shock, questioning the reality of the situation. Under a full moon, the old bishop, now imprisoned, laments that the events can't be true, convinced the baby used mana and is a child of Demonkin. A shadowy figure informs the bishop that holy power is divinely granted, questioning if he believes the Demonkin wielded God's power. The old bishop, with a sword pointed at him, insists it was mana and questions how he could possibly confuse mana with holy power. A shadowy figure reveals that the Sancta Sedes has responded to the bishop's statement. The old man reacts with alarm, calling out Cardinal as a weapon is poised to strike him. A hooded figure with fierce yellow eyes glares with intense anger, proclaiming quote, blasphemy amidst blood spatters. A hooded subordinate offers to organize an attack, but the lead hooded figure dismisses him, stating the Emperor will take the child anyway. Isaac lies in his crib, slightly confused, wondering if someone is discussing him and sensing a plan unfolding concerning the Imperial estate. An ominous red-tinged declaration states, "This time, we'll make sure he dies," foreshadowing a grim fate for Isaac. Several hooded figures stand in a shadowy, moonlit forest, observing the scene, their presence reflecting the ominous threat. The lead hooded figure reiterates that the Emperor will attempt to take the child, confirming their intention to act after Isaac is within the Imperial household. Isaac rests in his crib, looking distressed as an internal thought declares, "This time, he absolutely cannot survive, reinforcing the dire threat looming over him. The scene transitions to a bright, sunny window with a soft thump, indicating a shift in location or time and a moment of calm. A close-up of Isaac's face shows his sleepy, wide eyes as he begins to stir or observe his surroundings. A lavish carriage travels through a sunlit forest, making a clatter sound, heading towards Joshua, while a cloaked figure on the ground exclaims in surprise, "Wait, mister?" A few days ago, a room is filled with blinding golden light, prompting a voice to question its immense brightness. The Emperor holds Isaac, who glows intensely with the same bright light, as another person suggests Joshua is unsuitable for raising a child, while the Emperor shields his eyes. The Emperor describes Joshua as a dangerous place filled with demonkin corpses, while the glowing man questions if Isaac's overwhelming desire to survive is the source of the bright light. The Emperor mentions the Skeleton King's corpse as Joshua's most valuable asset, then unleashes a powerful light from his hand, prompting Isaac's shock as his skeletal past self appears, exclaiming, "My body?" Isaac looks horrified, internally realizing that they were holding on to his past self's body all along. Isaac internally expresses frustration that they didn't mention it earlier, as real-eyed Joshua, with a thoughtful thump, ponders the implications of the Joshua family name. Isaac, as a baby, cutely points and coos, telling his uncle to look at something specific. Isaac smiles sweetly and insists they go to Joshua, prompting real-eyed Joshua to react with an flustered exclamation of, "Aye, Isaac!" amidst a heart-filled background. Isaac, in the carriage, internally muses on being taken from the imperial family to the military, understanding he must retrieve his mana, which was godlike, visualizing his powerful skeletal form. Isaac internally calculates that retrieving his mana would make even a 10th rank nothing, realizing the light of his survival desire makes Joshua an essential destination for his recovery. Real-eyed Joshua sits with another man and Isaac, as the man questions why the Pope's forces are after Isaac, with Real-eye internally wondering about their panic. Real-eye explains that a divine prophecy states the saint will become the child of the gods, visibly shocking Isaac with the revelation. Real-eye clarifies that becoming the child of the gods means Isaac would be the next pope, prompting the other man to react with exasperation about this development from the Barrett family. A detailed description of the Pope is displayed, characterizing him as the strongest cleric, capable of 10th rank holy spells, and a figure whose authority rivals the emperors within the Holy Empire. Isaac listens as Real-eye Joshua explains the Barrett family's long history of producing popes, making their desire to maintain control understandable, and Isaac internally realizes why other families also strive to produce a saint. Real-eye Joshua and the other man react with surprised woes, processing the significant implications of the discussion about the saint and the pope. A subordinate informs Real-eye that they have arrived at the duchy, but there is a problem, showing armed guards blocking their path at a gate. Real-eye Joshua, with Isaac in the background looking surprised, angrily questions the guards, demanding if they recognize the Joshua coat of arms and scolding their lack of education. A grinning man with fanged teeth smugly declares that they, of course, cannot enter, revealing his malicious intent. Several hooded figures, radiating purple energy, declare their intention to erase that child that has inherited the Saintess's blood, confirming their target. Isaac from the carriage exclaims, "Demonkin?" in shock, wondering why they are attacking human territory and what the new Demon King is doing. A towering Demonkin leader arrogantly addresses the inferior humans, announcing his king's order to slay saints and saintesses, prompting Isaac to internally conclude a new Demon King has risen. A Demonkin boldly proclaims their intent to kill Saint Isaac in the name of the great Skeleton King Isaac, causing Isaac the baby to internally lament the absurdity. A Demonkin attempts to negotiate, offering to spare their lives if they abandon the child, but Isaac internally interjects, furious about the misrepresentation. Real-eye Joshua unleashes a powerful burst of blue lightning, striking a Demonkin and sending him flying, demonstrating his formidable power. Another Demonkin recoils from Real-eye Joshua's attack with the sound effect, "Ugh," expressing disdain for the lowly holy knight, despite being overwhelmed. Real-eye Joshua fiercely admonishes the Demonkin for daring to insult a Joshua exorcist, stating they clearly desire a difficult death. Rayleigh Joshua stands with his glowing sword, commanding the Demonkin to listen well as he prepares to unleash a devastating attack. With hands glowing with holy power, Rayleigh Joshua declares that the Joshua household will annihilate all evil to protect all the little things in this world. Rayleigh Joshua charges forward, emanating powerful blue energy, vowing to chase the Demonkin to the depths of hell and annihilate their kind. Rayleigh Joshua, with a grim expression, internally wonders why the wicked Skeleton King would use his subordinates to reclaim his body, unaware he is talking about Isaac. A lunging Demonkin angrily confronts a human, daring them to insult them, escalating the conflict. Another Demonkin passionately defends Skeleton King Isaac, declaring their actions are solely for his revival, ironically addressing Isaac's own body as Rayleigh fights them. A knight holds Isaac securely while preparing his sword, observing the intense battle unfold around them. A knight, visibly winded, apologizes to young Master Isaac after being buffeted by an attack, showing the intensity of the fight. Isaac, held by the knight, looks bewildered and internally questions if someone is impersonating him, reacting to the Demonkin's claims. The knight stands in a peaceful forest setting, holding Isaac, seemingly looking for a safe spot. The knight gently places Isaac on the ground, instructing him to wait there, promising a quick return before rejoining the battle. The knight conjures a glowing blue protection barrier around Isaac, who is surprised and internally recognizes it as such, providing him immediate safety. Isaac observes the powerful protection barrier, internally remarking on its strength and concluding that even a high-ranking Demonkin couldn't penetrate it. Isaac, protected within the strong blue barrier, internally notes that its impenetrable nature prevents anything from entering or leaving. Isaac, in his mind's eye, initiates magic release, fueled by his desire to survive, calling upon he who is made of magic, yet possesses a mind. Whisper he who watches. A shadowy, monstrous entity with glowing red eyes and a fanged maw emerges, surrounded by ominous purple energy. The Shadow Lich profusely greets Isaac, calling him my venerable lord, but Isaac dismisses the praise and tells him to keep quiet to avoid detection. The Shadow Lich, now inside Isaac's barrier, continues to express overwhelming devotion and surprise at reuniting with its master. Isaac internally explains that he created the Shadow Lich as a sentient detection spell to avoid the tedious process of manual analysis. The Shadow Lich praises Isaac's wickedness and congratulates him on effortlessly taking over a child's body, prompting Isaac to nervously respond. The Shadow Lich rages against the gods for trapping its master in a child's form, while Isaac directs it to focus on detecting enemies instead. The Shadow Lich, with glowing red eyes, ominously declares its readiness to begin its task. The Shadow Lich extends a powerful purple search wave across a 100-meter radius to detect nearby threats. The Shadow Lich reports 88 monster enemies, deeming them insignificant compared to its master, as Rayleigh Joshua and knights fight, perplexed by the sheer number of foes. The Shadow Lich resolves to complete its mission quickly, realizing stronger security would hinder its ability to summon more subordinates and risk being caught by the Joshua household. The Shadow Lich declares it will use all its stored mana to accomplish its goal, as Isaac observes from within the protective barrier. The Shadow Lich reports a rapid decrease in enemy numbers, from 51 to 31, then quickly down to 13, leaving Isaac bewildered by the sudden shift. As the battle rages and enemies dwindle to 13, a knight urgently warns young Master Isaac that something is approaching. Rayleigh Joshua orders a defensive line, noting only 4 enemies remain, as the grinning Demonkin leader hails the arrival of his brother. The fanged Demonkin leader grins maliciously, urging someone to join him in battle. A large, shadowy figure with red glowing eyes declares its intention to kill the saint today, while another struggles to voice the word saint. The powerful Shadow Lich unleashes a devastating purple attack, vowing that only the Skeleton King will prevail. A knight cries out in alarm as the Shadow Lich reports all enemy forces are gone, then reveals it has detected itself, fully manifesting its presence. Knights stand ready with drawn swords, facing the ominous, powerfully glowing Shadow Lich. The enraged Shadow Lich, accusing the Holy Knights of defiling its king, demands they forfeit your lives, shocking Isaac within his barrier. The enraged Shadow Lich, accusing the Holy Knights of defiling its king, demands they forfeit your lives, shocking Isaac within his barrier. The Shadow Lich, consumed by twisted affection, rages that its king was trapped in a child's lowly body, a consequence of Isaac having freed it. The Shadow Lich threatens the knights, warning them not to look at Isaac with disgusting eyes. The Shadow Lich fiercely vows to tear out the knight's eyes, but Riley, Joshua, and another knight are utterly confused, unable to understand its demonic language. Isaac, still protected, fumes internally that the Shadow Lich has figured out he's the Skeleton King, acknowledging its commendable loyalty despite the trouble. Riley Joshua orders the knights to prepare for battle, while the Shadow Lich scolds them for making a spectacle, expressing disdain. Isaac, from within his barrier, babbles angrily, internally telling the Shadow Lich not to touch his lifeline, which a knight misunderstands as my super rich mana core. A distressed knight urges Isaac to wait while he resolves the situation, but the Shadow Lich laughs menacingly, indicating its impending action. The Shadow Lich gleefully proclaims its master has recognized it, causing a knight to nervously report the Demonkin's clear hostility. The Shadow Lich rapidly transforms into a giant, powerful form and charges forward, declaring its immediate intent to reach its master. Riley Joshua reacts with alarm, realizing the Shadow Lich is directly heading towards Isaac. The Shadow Lich charges towards Isaac, berating the Holy Knights for sealing its master in a vile place, while Isaac internally delights at having successfully drawn its attention. Isaac, still inside the barrier, frantically urges the Shadow Lich to break the protective shield, as he cannot bear to watch his mana core be exercised. The Shadow Lich's shadowy hand glows ominously with red energy, poised to strike. The Shadow Lich smashes the barrier with a powerful impact, declaring it has received Isaac's order, leaving the knights shocked. Knights express disbelief at Isaac breaking the barrier. Riley Joshua cries out his name, while Isaac gives the Shadow Lich a satisfied thumbs up, internally praising its good work. Isaac, now free, coos at the Shadow Lich, internally telling it to stop and rest, causing the confused Shadow Lich to begin dissipating while screaming, "Master!" The Shadow Lich completely dissipates into purple energy, protesting "Why?" as it vanishes from existence. Riley Joshua and another knight stare in astonished confusion at the vanishing Shadow Lich, prompting Riley to begin pondering Isaac's involvement. Isaac sits on the ground, smiling innocently, with a dark, skeletal Demonkin hand lying beside him, as Riley Joshua concludes that Isaac must have, quote, totemized a Demonkin. Riley Joshua proudly exclaims that Isaac is incredible for totemizing a Demonkin on his very first attempt. A knight marvels that only powerful saintesses or cardinals can perform such a holy spell, but Isaac, floating above, internally corrects him, stating he used mana, not a holy spell. Riley Joshua finds it puzzling that despite Isaac using a high-level holy spell of totemization, he feels no holy power from him, while another knight suggests true worth is revealed in emergencies. The knight observes that the Shadow Lich instinctively rushed towards Isaac, deducing it felt endangered and sought to remove the perceived threat from the knights. Riley Joshua, cradling Isaac, proudly declares that Isaac is truly great, and he is absolutely certain Isaac is the saint. Riley Joshua, deep in thought, realizes Isaac hasn't said anything wrong, even though Demonkin targeted him, confirming something special about the child, saint or not. Riley Joshua, looking stressed, wonders why the saint, if it is him, had to be a young boy. Riley Joshua appears in close-up, contemplating his personal resolve against the Skeleton King's curse. Riley Joshua holds Isaac, vowing as captain of the Order of Blue to protect Isaac's future, as he will become the future of Joshua. Riley Joshua looks away, a pensive expression on his face. Riley Joshua admits his foolishness, understanding the situation more clearly now. Riley Joshua's hand gently rests on Isaac, believing the child will elevate the Joshua name, despite past fears of a curse. Riley Joshua affectionately holds Isaac, inviting him home to learn many things from his uncle. Riley Joshua expresses his desire to raise Isaac into an incredible holy knight, but Isaac internally protests, wishing for his original body back. Riley Joshua solemnly promises to save Isaac at any cost, even if his life is short, which surprises Isaac. What? Riley Joshua proudly declares Isaac's name will spread widely, while Isaac internally reacts with shock, sensing ominous implications. Rely Joshua states Isaac will be taught to curse the Skeleton King, prompting Isaac to internally curse the Joshua family. A bright, ethereal blue background displays Joshua Duchy, indicating a new setting. A grand, opulent estate with manicured hedges and a magnificent carriage arriving reveals the wealth of the Joshua Duchy. Impressive statues and a majestic building are showcased at the estate, prompting Isaac to utter a surprised "wow." From within the carriage, Isaac scolds the Joshua family for their lavish lifestyle, contrasting it with his past struggles to provide for his subordinates. Isaac passionately rages against the bourgeois, recalling his desperate efforts to feed his children. Ugh. The Shadow Lich expresses awe at the Joshua Palace's grandeur and immense monetary value, but Isaac sternly tells it to quiet down. Real Joshua, holding Isaac, introduces him to the Joshua residence, emphasizing its historical role as the continent's origin of exorcism. Real Joshua smiles warmly, showing Isaac his surroundings within the grand residence. Real Joshua points out children training, telling Isaac he will grow up to be just like them. Children furiously attack a straw dummy, shouting, "Die, Skeleton King!" The children mercilessly strike the Skeleton King dummy, shouting aggressive curses and threats to tear it limb from limb. Isaac reacts with horror and internal confusion, questioning what kind of zealous teachings the Joshua family instills in their children. Isaac internally dismisses the training, reaffirming his plan to burn the Emperor and claim the Empire, while the Shadow Lich playfully chides him for his petty grudge. Disc. The shadowy entity of the Shadow Lich, with glowing red eyes, enthusiastically agrees. Of course, the Grand Joshua Manor glows with sparkling mana cores, highlighting its powerful nature. Isaac and the Shadow Lich are astonished by the numerous mana cores in the manor, marveling at the vast number of Demonkin killed. Oh! The carriage stops with a screech, and a servant announces their arrival to the young master. Real Joshua instructs a servant to prepare his room, declaring Isaac will stay with him, but the servant hesitantly responds. The servant apologizes, stating orders dictate guiding young Master Isaac to the annex, surprising Real Joshua. The servant explains that the fifth young master explicitly forbade Isaac from entering the main building, frustrating Isaac internally. Real Joshua expresses concern about sending Isaac to a cursed place, while Isaac internally mocks the Joshua family's crumbling state. Real Joshua dismisses his brother's pointless plan, but Isaac's eyes light up as the Shadow Lich confirms the mana cores are in the annex. Real Joshua vehemently refuses to allow Isaac to stay in the, quote, "ridden annex," while Isaac internally screams to go to the annex. Real Joshua declares he will read Isaac holy scriptures about the Skeleton King as a bedtime story, making Isaac internally protest that it's an exorcism and asking if he wants to kill him. A new, sharp-dressed man questions Real Joshua for making a fuss over a homeless child. The man, revealed as Gaul Joshua, the fifth son, asserts he already ordered the child to the annex and questions Real Joshua's defiance. Isaac is startled as Gaul Joshua appears, and he immediately internally labels him a, quote, thug. Gaul Joshua smiles menacingly, demanding Real Joshua hand over Isaac to send him to the annex. Real Joshua angrily rejects sending a Joshua descendant to the exile-ridden annex, while Isaac internally realizes Gaul is part of a faction opposing Real. Oh! Real Joshua tries to walk away, promising to read Isaac the Skeleton King's exorcism story in his room, but Isaac frantically covers his face, internally begging to be put down and taken to the annex. Gaul Joshua scoffs, questioning where Real Joshua found this skeleton of a child. PFTTT. Gaul Joshua dismisses Isaac as a descendant, while Isaac internally wonders about Gaul's true nature, disliking him despite his desire to go to the annex. Tisk. Isaac internally decides he will go to the annex to suck on his mana core, while Real Joshua confronts Gaul about his true motives for sending Isaac there. Real Joshua asserts Gaul wants Isaac labeled cursed to remove him from succession contention, a realization that shocks Isaac. Isaac, enraged, realizes this interferes with his grand plan to drain the household, become saint, then pope, and finally, avenge himself on the gods. Gaul Joshua suggests people think a demon came for Isaac, implying he's cursed, but a knight protests, emphasizing Isaac's role in banishing the demon. The knight passionately argues that the demon's focus on Isaac proves his importance and holy power as a saint. Gowl Joshua dismisses the knight's defense as nonsense, challenging them to show Isaac's powers if they truly believe he's a saint, while Isaac and the Shadow Lich internally bicker about summoning a meteorite. Gowl Joshua smiles slyly, continuing to challenge Real-Eye Joshua to prove Isaac's supposed sainthood. Real-Eye Joshua and Gowl Joshua stand facing each other on the paved path, obscured slightly by a shadowy tree as their tense confrontation continues. The magical black tree of the Joshua household is shown, as a thought bubble considers using Isaac to revive things their lord values. Gowl Joshua, with a sinister smile, asserts that if Isaac is truly a saint, he should easily revive the holy tree, which died from demons' dark mana. An unseen character challenges Gowl's claim about the saint candidate, while Isaac internally complains about the Joshua descendants being a nuisance. Isaac looks shocked upon overhearing comments about the missing first son and adopted second son, suggesting questions about his lineage. Isaac looks surprised as the Shadow Lich appears beneath him, questioning what is happening with his sudden action. Isaac, still startled, urgently presses down on the Shadow Lich, demanding its attention, while the Shadow Lich expresses confusion. Isaac commands the Shadow Lich to go fetch something, sending out a purple burst, but the Shadow Lich protests, telling him to wait. Gowl Joshua expresses disbelief that Real-Eye Joshua wants an infant to revive a tree that has been dead for 70 years. Real-Eye Joshua stares in wide-eyed shock, realizing the holy tree is starting to revive and questioning what is happening. The once dead tree dramatically bursts into vibrant green and blue light, rapidly transforming into a flourishing, glowing holy tree. Real-Eye Joshua and Gowl Joshua stare in amazement at the rejuvenated holy tree, remembering how it continued to die despite all healing and purification efforts. Isaac, with a sly grin, dismisses his revival of the tree, stating it was nothing. Isaac reveals he merely slurped up the dark mana near the roots, feeling bloated as the Shadow Lich confirms his complete absorption of mana. A knight questions Real-Eye Joshua about how the tree was revived and what he did, but Real-Eye Joshua denies any involvement. The knight looks utterly confused, still trying to comprehend how the tree was revived after Real-Eye Joshua's denial. Isaac, held by Real-Eye Joshua, casually remarks that the revived tree was all mana. What a waste, asking if they want him to vomit it back up. Knights cheer wildly, praising Lord Isaac for his feat, while Real-Eye Joshua beams proudly. Gowl Joshua looks furious, scoffing at the knights and dismissing the idea that a child could achieve what no one in the house managed. The knights continue to celebrate Isaac, lifting him up and praising his exorcism, purification, and tree revival abilities, assuming Real-Eye Joshua's assistance. Gowl Joshua confronts Real-Eye Joshua, accusing him of orchestrating the event, while Real-Eye Joshua appears innocent. Gowl Joshua furiously accuses Real-Eye Joshua of conspiring with the missing saintess to make it seem as though Isaac performed the miracle. Gowl Joshua's angry voice continues to accuse Real-Eye Joshua of playing dirty tricks. Real-Eye Joshua, holding Isaac, denies meeting the missing saintess, while another knight urges Gowl, referred to as Melissa, to focus on the household. A character internally notes Gowl's lack of resemblance to Melissa, and finds it more believable if Real-Eye Joshua were Melissa in disguise. Isaac looks shocked, asking about a half-brother, while the Shadow Lich comments that Gowl resembles the Pope. Gowl Joshua vehemently accuses Real-Eye Joshua of bringing Isaac to undermine other saint candidates and playing dirty games. The Shadow Lich questions if Isaac will become wicked with such support, while another voice finds the idea of beating him amusing. Real-Eye Joshua, looking determined, questions if he should abandon Isaac, while Gowl scoffs, accusing Real-Eye's first brother of abandoning the family. Isaac internally laments being treated as a bastard child amidst the family dispute, while Gowl questions Isaac's lineage, suggesting he's a half-blood son of the Saintess. Real-Eye Joshua appears conflicted, listening to Gowl's comment about Isaac's appearance resembling the woman. Pow! Real-Eye Joshua punches Gowl, stating he would quote, sell Isaac to continue their bloodline, shocking Gowl, who demands to know if he was just hit. Real-eyed Joshua stands over the fallen Gowl, challenging him, while Isaac internally notes that brothers fight and he is gathering useful information from their conflict. Knights intervene to stop the fight between Real-eyed Joshua and Gowl Joshua, while Isaac internally observes that the household's chaos will facilitate his takeover. Isaac and the Shadow Lich exchange a menacing laugh, with Isaac internally wishing for the damned Joshua house to fall to ruin. The Shadow Lich mocks Isaac, asking if his brain shrunk with his child's body and warning him that he'd be ruined with the house, to which Isaac snaps, "Shut up." A majestic architectural marvel of the Joshua Duchy stands tall, with grand arches and shimmering water below. Isaac sits on the floor, looking visibly disgruntled and unhappy. Isaac grimaces, expressing his annoyance with the current situation. Family members are seen murmuring about the arrival of another boy, while Isaac internally scoffs at their perceived insanity. A family member expresses disdain that the, quote, peasant bitch saintess bore another useless boy, saying she has no right to be a saintess, which Isaac internally finds excessive. Henna Joshua, the acting matriarch, sternly silences everyone in the room. Henna Joshua, the acting matriarch, informs Real-eyed Joshua that they have decided to raise Isaac in a minor house, away from public view. Isaac, facing Henna Joshua, internally accuses her of open hostility and being responsible for the attempts to send him to the annex, questioning why Real-eyed allowed him on their land. Gowl Joshua demands Real-eyed Joshua answer the acting matriarch, while Isaac internally recognizes Henna as the mother of his, quote, asshole uncle. Real-eyed Joshua acknowledges the patriarch is out of town, implying the, quote, saint candidate situation is causing turmoil within the house. Real-eyed Joshua looks pensive, expressing regret that the patriarch is not present for the current events. An elder proposes that the patriarch should be informed that Isaac, the eldest grandson, revived the holy tree, surprising the others. Gowl Joshua, enraged, dismisses Isaac's feat as a mere coincidence, attributing the tree's revival to the Joshua household's prayers taking effect. An elder agrees that a child couldn't have achieved it if even the patriarch failed, and the acting matriarch nods in confirmation. Henna Joshua smiles slyly, pointing out that there is no evidence to support Isaac's claim of having revived the tree. An elder supports the acting matriarch, calling the holy tree's revival a blessing, while Isaac internally scoffs at their perceived hypocrisy. Isaac holds out his hands and asks if they desire proof, as a vibrant energy begins to swirl around him. Isaac unleashes a powerful burst of blue and green energy, startling the members of the Joshua family. The family gapes in shock as a glowing blue crystal forms, recognizing it as the holy tree's energy, while Isaac fiercely declares, "Darn you assholes." A voice from above the meeting table suggests Isaac may have simply removed the dark mana from the holy tree, causing confusion among those present. An elder questions how a newborn could have accomplished such a feat, debating whether it was a true exorcism or a dangerous purification that risked the tree's life. A thought bubble explains that the patriarch chose a stable purification method for a specific reason, highlighting the dangers of other approaches. Gowl Joshua angrily dismisses the claims, vehemently asserting that a newborn could not possibly achieve such a miracle. Real-eyed Joshua insists that Isaac must have instinctively exorcised the mana, and Isaac internally agrees with a smug bingo. Real-eyed Joshua emphasizes that Isaac, though a mere infant, accomplished something nobody in the Central Papacy managed in 70 years, much to Gowl's astonishment. Pong! Gowl Joshua slams his fist on the table, challenging the elders on their belief in Real-eye's absurd claims. Gowl continues to protest loudly, arguing that an infant who cannot even speak could not perform an exorcism, and that they will become a laughingstock. A new character expresses doubt about Isaac's Joshua lineage, wondering if he belongs to an unknown family, as Isaac looks visibly annoyed. Real-eyed Joshua passionately declares to the elders that Isaac will become a saint and urges them to listen. Real-eyed Joshua further asserts that Isaac could even rise to become the next pope, and Isaac internally confirms this with a knowing, subtle smile. Real-eyed Joshua dramatically lifts Isaac, proclaiming he will also slay the Skeleton King, making Isaac internally protest in disbelief. Two elders recoil in shock at the mention of the Skeleton King, while Hannah Joshua smiles menacingly, thinking Riley is digging his own grave. Hannah Joshua suggests they should test Isaac's abilities if Riley is so confident in his claims. Hannah Joshua, with a sinister grin, formally requests permission to use the divine relic storage. The scene shifts to the northwestern regions of the Holy Helen Empire, showing the desolate and foreboding dark forest. A figure in a black cape stands amidst a gruesome scene of slain monsters and blood, having apparently vanquished a large beast. The Joshua Patriarch, a man with a stern expression, comments that this new location was also a mess. A kneeling knight greets the Patriarch, who questions the reason for his appearance in this remote location. The knight informs the Patriarch that his proxy has requested access to the divine relic storage. The Patriarch states his previous instruction that the Sancta Sedis is not permitted to use it, but the knight clarifies the request is not from them. The knight explains that the Patriarch's grandson revived the holy tree, and the proxy wishes to test his qualities as a saint. The Patriarch appears shocked and questions why there would be a saint in his household, amidst the eerie landscape. Eli Joshua, the Joshua Patriarch, firmly denies permission, stating that only a saintess can survive the divine relic storage and urges them to avoid conflict. Melissa Joshua unexpectedly tells them to go ahead with the test, contradicting the Patriarch's earlier statement. Melissa Joshua, the Joshua matriarch and former saintess, smiles slyly, expressing impressed surprise that Isaac revived the holy tree. Melissa Joshua suggests that, since the storage is open, all saint and saintess candidates should enter, startling the kneeling knight. Melissa Joshua expresses hope that a child from another household might take something from the storage, noting that even past saintesses couldn't, as a glowing treasure chest is depicted. Melissa Joshua speculates that if someone can retrieve an item, they might be able to track down and kill the Skeleton King. Melissa Joshua, with a cunning expression, declares they should place a substantial reward on the task. Melissa Joshua instructs the knight to announce that the child who retrieves the best treasure from the storage will receive an unparalleled reward. She continues, promising them the generational heirloom of the Joshua household and personal training in their secret technique. Melissa Joshua, with a triumphant and slightly unsettling smile, vows that they will give everything to the successful child. A glowing blue informational screen explains that the divine relic storage holds ancient secret techniques and divine relics. Text further clarifies that a saintess has always guarded the storage, and the Joshuas are its owners, set against a backdrop of a glowing magical circle. The storage was historically used as a ritual for one-year-old saintess candidates to choose an item, predicting their future powers, and only children under 10 could enter. However, the storage was dangerous, resulting in several deaths, leading to its eventual sealing, with images of blood splatters conveying its lethal history. Isaac, sitting on the bed, complains to the Shadow Lich for narrating the story. The Shadow Lich asks if Isaac is also looking forward to the challenge, and Isaac internally confirms his excitement. Kike. Isaac laughs gleefully as the Shadow Lich reveals that the body of the Skeleton King is rumored to be within the storage. A hand holds Isaac, and he is asked if he's excited, showing his curious red eyes. A man holding Isaac informs him that the matriarch has opened the storage for all candidates, making Isaac question, all? The man explains that children from 5 renowned households, including the Popes, will participate, confidently predicting Isaac's victory, while Isaac internally notes the increased distraction. Isaac, with a knowing smirk, internally agrees that more people will provide a better distraction, making it easier for him to reclaim his body. A hand holds Isaac upside down, and he is cautioned to be careful. Eli Joshua explains to Isaac that captured demons will guard the inside of the storage, emphasizing the danger of the location. The baby looks smug, believing any opponents caught would be of 6th rank or lower. Relay Joshua holds the baby, who confidently plans to use Overpower, as Relay notes the difficulty of dealing with 8th rank demons. The Imperial family representative is shocked to hear about 8th rank demons, while the knight suggests a 9th rank dragon is likely the worst, considering their power levels. The baby internally rages at the Joshua household's insanity for bringing babies near dragons, while his shadow form comments on his master's knowledge of dragons. The baby, distressed and flailing, realizes that dragons are dangerous in an entirely different sense. The baby internally boasts about having scammed dragons numerous times in the past. A massive, enraged dragon reacts furiously upon learning the Skeleton King scammed young dragons and even an elder, demanding to know how many, guessing around 70. The baby's shadow form is terrified, realizing Dragon's good memory might lead them to recognize his soul, suggesting he switch masters, but the baby calmly states he can hear the shadow. The baby's small hands are visible on the floor as he dramatically declares he has no choice but to act. Panels reveal a dragon and demons within a divine relic storage, as the baby internally admits he can barely handle 6th-ranked demons, resolving to steal mana cores from the Joshua house to fight them off. The baby determinedly declares his intention to go to the Annex. The opulent Joshua mansion is shown, transitioning to a scene where the baby is now lying on the floor outside a grand door. The baby's shadow asks if he is all right, noting he looks on the verge of being exorcised. The baby looks shocked and distressed while attempting to read a book titled Book of Holy Spells, 10 Ways to Shred the Skeleton King, babbling incoherently. The baby internally curses, wishing he could manipulate holy power to learn all the spells, demanding an immediate rundown on the subject, despite being too young to be weaned. The baby's shadow frantically warns him against using dark magic within the clergy center, questioning if he wants to ruin the house by being framed as a demon, and wonders how his personality changed over 150 years. The baby, looking exhausted, sighs as he realizes he cannot understand the holy spell theory alone by just reading the book. A large hand gently touches the baby, who appears worn out, and a voice remarks that he looks tired. Real-eyed Joshua holds the baby, remarking it has been an eventful day, with the knight standing nearby as the baby's shadow floats beside them. The baby internally calculates that children his age require 16 hours of sleep daily. Really, Joshua walks away holding the baby, while the knight observes, holding the holy spellbook, reflecting on the baby's earlier attempt to learn holy magic. A hand gently touches the baby's head, and the baby's wide, red eyes gaze up in surprise. Golden light radiates from the baby as a holy spell is cast, making him look delighted, exclaiming he sees a holy spell. As the word regenerate appears above him, the baby eagerly encourages his uncle to use an attack spell next, while the floating shadow subtly advises the unmoving baby to please just stay still. The baby's shadow reminds him of the need to go to the Annex soon, prompting the baby to agree and declare he needs to get rid of everyone quickly. The baby pretends to be asleep on the floor, while his shadow cynically comments that his acting is unconvincing. The knight and wry-eyed Joshua praise the baby's swift sleep and amazing nature, while the baby internally rages, calling them insane for falling for his act. Real-eyed Joshua and the knight decide to leave due to the late hour, as the baby continues to feign sleep, internally scoffing at the amazing people surrounding him. The baby's eyes widen in shock as he hears a voice declare the totem is dangerous and should be taken. Real-eyed Joshua assures the knight he will safely keep Isaac's first totem, but the baby internally protests, asserting he needs to resurrect the totem and they cannot take it. The baby, still feigning sleep, despairs that his totem will be displayed publicly, and he won't be able to drain mana from it. The baby grins, resolving to drain the mana core from the Annex due to his current predicament. The baby begins to crawl determinedly, while his shadow questions if he truly intends to crawl all the way to the Annex. The baby, lying on the floor, confidently tells his shadow to open the door, claiming he has a plan. The baby's shadow hesitantly moves to open the door, but stops in shock as the baby unexpectedly lunges forward, out of view. The baby expresses frustration, realizing his uncle has locked the door from the outside and placed a holy spell on it. The baby desperately orders his shadow to break the door, believing it would make people think they are under attack and rush over, while the shadow expresses exasperation. The baby clutches the wall in distress, complaining about the long distance and how using magic would only complicate his escape. The baby pushes against the door with all his might, wondering how he can escape. The baby looks up in shock as a young boy screams. A young boy with a bandaged arm stands in a doorway, looking surprised at the baby on the floor. The young boy is identified as Shuri Joshua, 5 years old, son of Gal Joshua and a saint candidate, as he expresses disbelief that the baby cannot even walk yet. The baby is shocked, wondering if this small boy is supposed to be his rival, while his shadow expresses anger at the boy for potentially harming its master. Shuri Joshua looks annoyed, dismissing the totem as something even a genius couldn't make, convinced the baby could not have created it. A hand appears, glowing with light, as the baby looks up excitedly, babbling, "Da!" Shuri Joshua, surrounded by a radiant glow, confidently declares himself the future saint with a menacing smile. Shuri Joshua holds up glowing light, questioning if the baby dares covet what belongs to him, as a glowing, syringe-like object falls to the floor. The baby happily watches as Shuri Joshua is struck by the falling object, believing this is his opportunity to escape the cursed Joshua family. The baby gleefully points, exclaiming he has found his ride. Shuri Joshua clutches his face, demanding to know the baby's identity, while the baby asserts he must be the delinquent uncle's son due to their resemblance. Isaac, with his foot holding a rattle, confronts Shuri, accusing him of gathering holy mana for an attack. "I cannot fulfill your request because it promotes violence." Shuri attempts to use a holy spell, but it's blocked by an invisible force, leaving him stunned and fearful. Isaac, looking pleased, reveals his ability to use third-rank defensive holy magic, asking if Shuri is surprised by his talent. Shuri launches a third-rank holy attack, Radiant Holiness, with powerful holy energy, as Isaac observes from below. Shuri unleashes a second powerful Radiant Holiness attack, while Isaac calmly notes its impressiveness, watching the incoming magic. Isaac absorbs Shuri's holy attack, indicating it was "thanks for the meal," leaving Shuri bewildered and surprised. Shuri cries out in shock, questioning how Isaac could make such an expensive spell so large, while Isaac explains he learned by observing Shuri. Isaac gleefully thanks Shuri for the lesson, as Shuri reels from the overwhelming holy power, surrounded by shimmering orbs. Shuri stares in disbelief and horror as the holy magic continues to swirl around him. Isaac points at a terrified Shuri with a triumphant smile, relishing his shocked reaction. Shuri, surrounded by swirling holy energy, begs for Isaac to wait, visibly distraught. "Wah!" Shuri cries out in distress, while Isaac calmly sits on the floor with the Shadow Lich, unaffected by the chaos. The Shadow Lich questions if Isaac intends to kill Shuri, but Isaac, arms crossed, clarifies he never stated such a thing. Shuri lies on the ground, confused and in pain, as Isaac reveals his attack didn't actually hit him. Isaac laughs gleefully while Shuri, still shaken, complains that Isaac only scared him without actually hitting him. Shuri angrily declares that no attack spells can harm a saint candidate like him, unknowingly provoking the Shadow Lich. The Shadow Lich, a menacing purple figure, angrily asks Shuri if he wishes to die for attempting to attack its master, Isaac. The Shadow Lich grows larger and more terrifying, looming over Shuri, who shrinks back in fear. Wah! Shuri cries out in pure terror, overwhelmed by the Shadow Lich's immense and frightening presence. Isaac's tiny hand gestures near the Shadow Lich's form, indicating his command over the powerful entity. With Isaac perched on its head, the Shadow Lich asks him what he's doing, as Shuri watches in utter terror. "I am Shuri Joshua." Glowing blue text declares Shuri's ambition: "I will become the saint in the future," with a faint figure in the distance. Glowing white text reveals Isaac's contrasting ambition: "I will escape the cursed Joshua house and become the Pope." Shuri's eye is shown in close-up, gazing with determined resolve towards an unseen destination. Okay, I will read the text back to you. Shuri carries Isaac on his back, looking stressed as Isaac, with a mischievous grin, rides him through the night, a damn toddler indeed. Isaac excitedly directs Shuri towards the annex, while a visibly distressed Shuri questions why he's being forced to do this. The Shadow Lich menacingly warns Shuri to move or be shredded, referring to him as a lowly human bug, despite Shuri's protests. The Shadow Lich continues to loom over a terrified Shuri, who carries Isaac as they advance through the night. Shuri, sweating with fear, decides to simply focus on surviving the ordeal, agreeing with the Shadow Lich to just make it out alive. Da! The Joshua residence's annex stands under a full moon at night, marking their arrival. Isaac directs Shuri to turn left as Shuri runs through the nighttime landscape, carrying the baby on his back. Isaac, with a fierce glare, demands Shuri focus, while Shuri, bewildered, questions their unusual nighttime destination. Shuri's expression shifts to one of surprise and concern as he takes in their new surroundings. The ominous Joshua residence second annex is revealed, looking dark and possibly abandoned. Heek! Shuri, frightened, declares the annex a haunted house and questions why Isaac dragged him there, while Isaac looks on smugly. Isaac, with a wide, calculating grin, comments that there are several dozen mana cores gathered within the annex. The Grand Annex glows, and text explains that acquiring this much mana would typically require decades of arduous training. Isaac orders Shuri to go inside the annex, but a terrified Shuri refuses, recalling warnings from adults about the dangerous place. The Shadow Lich, in its intimidating form, silences Shuri and commands him to keep walking, calling him a mutt. The scene transitions to the dark interior of the annex, featuring a large window, as they seemingly progress deeper inside. Ugh! Shuri expresses his continued distress as he is carried through the dark and ornate halls of the annex. Ooh-wah! Shuri continues to cry out in distress, feeling overwhelmed by the spooky atmosphere of the annex. Isaac, riding on Shuri's back, notes that the inside of the annex is in an even worse state than expected, much to Shuri's dismay. Isaac's intense red eye is shown in a close-up, hinting at a sharp observation of their surroundings within the annex. The Shadow Lich explains that the entire annex is sealed, with protective barriers on every door, making entry a difficult and annoying task for Isaac. Ow, ow. Ah. Shuri expresses pain and confusion as he tries to turn back, but Isaac's grip on his hair prevents him. Shuri struggles to hold Isaac, who pulls his hair, desperately telling him to let go. Shuri looks up at the large portraits on the wall, questioning if they depict the past patriarchs. A light glows from the reflections on the wall as Shuri questions if Isaac is now aiming for the patriarch position too. Isaac, holding his rattle like a weapon, confidently dismisses the patriarch position as pointless, asserting it will belong to him. Boom! A powerful force emanates from Isaac, causing Shuri to scream in terror about their ancestors being attacked. A powerful force shatters the protective barriers on the portraits, throwing Shuri back in pain and shock as he yells at Isaac for attacking the patriarchs. Tap! Isaac, holding his rattle, looks angry, internally questioning why barriers were placed on portraits, as Shuri questions his actions. Isaac smiles gleefully as the Shadow Lich announces that the barrier has been broken, making Isaac declare it nice. Isaac, still riding on Shuri's back, happily tells Shuri, "Let's go," while Shuri desperately asks where they are going. Isaac confidently directs Shuri away, while Shuri, looking distressed, demands to know where Isaac is going after causing such a mess. Wah! Isaac enthusiastically praises the awesome amount of mana collected around them in the annex. Shuri frantically tries to lock a door, while Isaac prevents him and tells him a kid like him doesn't need to know his plans. Isaac sits calmly on the floor, letting out a sigh of relief. Isaac begins to glow with purple energy, announcing that they will now begin, appearing ready to absorb mana. Shuri frantically bangs on the door, telling Isaac to get out and threatening to tell the adults everything. Shuri attempts to break a door with a key, promising to tell the adults everything and get Isaac kicked out. Shuri looks terrified as a group of men, including his uncle, appear behind him, with one of them addressing him directly. Shuri's uncle angrily confronts him about bringing Isaac into the Forbidden Annex and demands to know what he's doing. Shuri looks shocked and bewildered, questioning his uncle's accusations. Shuri's uncle angrily explains that many people saw Shuri carrying Isaac into the annex and that traces of holy attack magic were found in Isaac's room, as others react. Shuri's uncle angrily blames Shuri for everything, and Shuri attempts to deny full responsibility, admitting he carried Isaac and some of the magic was his. Shuri's uncle warns him that he's gone too far, criticizing him for harassing an unweaned toddler. Shuri's uncle aggressively questions Shuri about where he locked Isaac, but Shuri denies locking him anywhere. Shuri's uncle and the other men look shocked as Shuri insists that Isaac went into the annex on his own. Shuri's uncle approaches the annex door, calling out for Isaac and asking if he locked the door, while others express concern. Wah! Shuri's uncle reacts in shock as Isaac cries from inside the annex, prompting Shuri to call out to him. Shuri's uncle and another man look concerned as they confirm Isaac seems terrified but unharmed, with Shuri also looking surprised. Sniff, sniff. Shuri's uncle holds a crying Isaac, noting he seems scared, but nothing has actually happened to him. Shuri's uncle looks sternly ahead, his expression serious. Shuri's uncle confronts Shuri, telling him he should be ashamed, while Shuri tries to deny his actions. Shuri's uncle is seen from behind, walking away, as Isaac thanks him, leaving someone looking surprised. Isaac, with a wide, wicked grin, expresses thanks for the meal, implying he gained something significant. Shuri looks overwhelmed and furious, as an older man questions his sudden agitation, while another wonders if it's merely the cold. Isaac's hand glows with immense mana, as he internally marvels at acquiring mana equivalent to 100 years of training in one go. Isaac's hand glows with powerful mana, confirming he can finally execute his secret plan. Hey. Isaac grins wickedly, still in Shuri's uncle's arms, while the uncle misinterprets his laughter as fear. The scene shifts to a bright, daytime view of the Grand Joshua residence. Isaac sits with his book and the Shadow Lich, looking observant as he is told someone will be introduced to him. A man introduces a woman named Asili, stating she will be Isaac's assistant. Asili introduces herself as a holy knight of the Joshua household. Asili kneels before Isaac, promising to serve him until the day she dies, while Isaac and the Shadow Lich observe. Isaac thinks that they are assigning someone to watch him because of what happened last time. Hey, you! Isaac, screaming as a baby, loudly dismisses Asili, telling her to, quote, get out of my sight, as something in the man looks shocked and surprised by Isaac's commanding behavior. Isaac, still in baby form, looks angered as he is reminded of young Master Relai. Asili looks flustered and embarrassed, questioning why there are so many lunatics in this household, while thinking about pinching Isaac's cheek. The man smiles, addressing Isaac and preparing to give him something. Clatter, the man holds out a small box, revealing a present from Isaac's uncle. Isaac looks disgusted, thinking the present must have come from a dumpster and wondering if the Joshua household is in a financial crisis, as the Shadow Lich agrees. Asili looks shocked, realizing the gift is the Saintess's heirloom. Isaac's uncle, the man from before, confirms the gift is the Saintess's heirloom, stating he acquired it just for Isaac. Isaac's eyes widen, confirming to himself that the powerful relic is indeed real. The Shadow Lich narrates that the Elder Ring is the Saintess's heirloom, containing a miracle of God and used in a past battle against him. Isaac holds the glowing golden ring, sensing its incredible holy power. Isaac grins, knowing he can fix the Saintess's heirloom even if it breaks after 1 or 2 uses. Isaac looks away with a scheming expression, revealing there's more to his plan. Shuri's uncle, Relai, looks visibly enraged by Isaac's actions. Isaac mocks Relai's furious expression, confirming it's the genuine one, and notes Relai glares at him like he wants to kill his own nephew. Relai, with a forced smile, approaches Isaac, who is held by the other man, and Asili, calling him his cute little nephew. Relai beams, telling Isaac how lovely he is, surrounded by twinkling stars. Relai speaks sweetly to Isaac, asking if he found the place comfortable, while Isaac looks surprised. Shuri screams in disgust, thinking Relai has gone mad as Relai laughs wildly. Isaac thinks things are getting complicated because he intentionally broke the relic storage's blessing device, not expecting them to give him the Saintess's heirloom instead. Isaac's uncle Relai tells a man and an older woman that since Isaac cannot receive a blessing, it's only fair to give him the Saintess's heirloom. The older woman shouts that they should lend the heirloom to Shuri instead, shocking Relai. The older woman sternly tells Relai to return to his place, stating Shuri already received a blessing and should not be greedy. Relai clenches his teeth, internally fuming that he was going to secretly donate the heirloom to the Sancticities, and Isaac has no idea of its true value. A man TSK's Relai, suggesting he should have given Isaac a good gift instead of calling the Saintess's belonging useless. Rely replies that Isaac is his precious nephew, so he couldn't give him something useless like the Saintess's belonging. Clatter! The man proudly presents Isaac with a different, glowing ring, stating it's imbued with many blessings from the Sancta Sedis. The man explains this new ring is more helpful for Isaac in the relic storage and is a precious item Rylai could never get, making Rylai look annoyed. The man happily asks Isaac if he likes the new ring. Yelp! Isaac loudly demands the man's dirty old ring before slamming it into the man's face, thinking he should get lost. Tap. Isaac, holding the new ring box, internally states the item reeks of the Pope and he wants nothing to do with it. Isaac flings the box, telling the man he can get lost with it. Wah! The man screams in dismay as Isaac casually tosses the precious ring box, which falls from the balcony. The man is shocked, telling everyone to find the ring immediately, while Isaac's uncle observes, internally wondering why Isaac chose his seemingly less valuable gift. Isaac, holding the Saintess's heirloom, smiles mischievously, reinforcing Relai's confusion. Isaac's uncle stares, thinking Isaac is his lovely nephew and vows to give him only the best from now on. Hooray for young Master Isaac. Isaac's uncle and another man cheer for him while two men below frantically search for the dropped ring, desperately splashing in water. Isaac casts a weight magic spell on the ring, ensuring they will never find it, while the Shadow Lich praises his master's determination to avoid foul objects. Isaac commands the Shadow Lich to pick up the ring at dawn, surprising the Shadow Lich, who reluctantly agrees. Ooh-ah! The men frantically search for the ring, while Isaac declares he will sell the valuable item for a fortune. A man clenches his fist in rage, calling Isaac a damn little brat. Relai collapses onto his desk, lamenting that Isaac has no idea how expensive the ring was. Rylai waves his hand dismissively, stating Isaac can't properly use the Elder Ring anyway. A man in armor explains that the Elder Ring requires 20 people's worth of holy power to use, making it an impossible item for someone who cannot use holy spells. The armored man smirks, wondering if Isaac will even have 10 people attend his first birthday. The scene transitions to the next day at the Grand Joshua residence. Many guests arrive at the Joshua residence, creating a lively atmosphere. The man from before is amazed, observing from a window that over 148 saint candidates and about 4,000 nobles and servants have gathered for Isaac's birthday. Asili, holding a dressed-up Isaac, excitedly shares the ducal and marquis families, as well as foreign saint candidates, are attending, amazing everyone. Isaac, looking annoyed, wonders why there are so many saint candidates, while the Shadow Lich confirms the gods are lazy enough to just sprinkle them everywhere. The man, Isaac's uncle, looks thoughtful, admitting he didn't expect so many people to come, believing it would be a trap. A voice confidently declares that no one would think of it as a trap. Wahaha! Count Simon Age, Relai's best friend and head of a merchant union, joyfully announces his arrival. Relai expresses surprise at Simon's presence, who explains he had to attend due to the widespread rumor throughout the empire. Asili looks exasperated as Simon tells Rylai that everyone knew it wasn't a trap, because the weak Joshua household boys, including Rylai, are all attending. Simon grins, stating he had to come, considering what the head of the Joshua household has put on the line. Isaac, held by Asili, hears someone declare that even the Pope's family will attend, making him wonder what was truly put on the line. Count Simon Age dismisses the notion of the Pope's family attending, asserting that the royal families detest commoners in Joshua territory. Simon loudly states his son is also a saint candidate, arguing the Pope's family has no reason to get involved, as Rylai tells him to lower his voice. A hand clenches, emphasizing a silent warning to be careful what one says. Rylai dismisses Simon as a vulgar friend, while a long-haired man dramatically enters, stating the wisdom of the ancients never errs. A man reacts with wide-eyed shock and fear at the new arrival. Rylai and another man are stunned, as the long-haired man is identified as Bishop Barrett, who grins menacingly. Bishop Barrett, walking past them, scornfully remarks on the weak Joshua household hosting such an event, hoping Isaac will bring something from the relic storage to save face. Bishop Barrett expresses curiosity about Joshua's child claiming to be a saint candidate. Asili holds Isaac, looking stern as Bishop Marie finishes his thought, noting he doesn't even see the child. Bishop Barrett grins eerily, wishing the saint candidate could raise the family's name, with a sinister aura surrounding him. Isaac's uncle looks horrified, suspecting this grand gathering is a trick orchestrated by the Sanctus Satis. He reflects that the sudden jump from 25 to 148 saint candidates in a week is already highly suspicious. He deduces that the Sanctus Satis is deliberately turning a blind eye to the sudden proliferation of saint candidates. He realizes that once these children enter the storage, they will inevitably compete fiercely, pushing out the weakest. He clenches his fist in concern, fearing Isaac could be harmed amidst the impending chaos. Acili and Isaac look concerned as Isaac's uncle realizes Isaac would be in grave danger. A grand visual depicts the Joshua family crest and a statue, introducing the quote-unquote boy of the Joshua family. Narration reveals that despite his outstanding appearance and family reputation, the Joshua child was considered utterly useless. However, to those who desired the Joshua's superior genes or sought to gain favor with the Pope's family, the child of Joshua was described as the quote perfect prey, as many hands reach towards a glowing star. A cloaked figure gives a bottle to another, instructing it to be given to the boy as a little mischief to incapacitate him without killing him. A scroll reveals the instruction to mix the medicine into his water and use the holy poison. Another scroll, surrounded by empty bottles, instructs them to teach the boy how cruel the world can be. A scroll commands them to make a mockery of him before everyone, as several shocked children look on. The final scroll proclaims the child of Joshua can never become a saint, as Isaac happily drinks from a bottle. Isaac chugs the bottle with glee, exclaiming, "Wah! What a drink!" Other children look on in shock and fear as Isaac keeps drinking, one wondering how many bottles he's consumed. Isaac flings a bottle away, demanding more poison, claiming it can't kill him, as another child cries, "Ouch!" Isaac laughs wildly, demanding more bottles, as other children cry, wanting to go home, finding the scene scary. One boy questions what's wrong with Isaac, thinking he was given diarrhea medicine, while another wonders if he got the wrong bottle. A boy covers his face in embarrassment, questioning why Isaac keeps drinking the drugged bottles, and suggests they leave. Isaac continues drinking as a man approaches, angrily telling him to stop tarnishing the Joshua name and act like a saint candidate. The man forcefully grabs a bottle from Isaac, telling him to stop drinking and asking if he's that thirsty. "Here, ack!" Isaac angrily flings the offered bottle, hitting the giver, screaming it's not poisoned, indicating he only wants the poisoned ones. Eek! Isaac, now on the floor, tries to get a super poison bottle, while others are baffled by his energy, and the boy he hit lies defeated. A child is shocked to learn it's holy poison, warning that Isaac will die from it. Isaac floats with glowing eyes, excitedly demanding more poison, as the boy who provided it screams in terror. Wah! Isaac creates a cloud of dust, as two boys discuss his incredible poison resistance, wondering if he can naturally break down poison from training his holy power. A boy wonders if Isaac is being self-sacrificial by drinking the poisoned bottles to prevent others from doing so, but then dismisses the idea as nonsense. The brown-haired boy looks confused and questioned when asked, "Really?" Kina Barit, a white-haired child with golden eyes, confidently dismisses the idea of Isaac being self-sacrificial. A boy shouts in shock, recognizing Kina Barit and questioning why she and her family are there. A close-up of Kina Barit, the direct descendant of the Pope family, shows her smiling serenely. Two children express shock, wondering why the Pope's family is at the Saintess's relic storage. One child remarks that the winner is obvious, as Isaac lies on the ground, still trying to get a bottle. Kina Barrett smiles, acknowledging that the boy is guaranteed to be a saint, but questions if such pure hair color is possible for the Barrett Pope family. Small cartoon heads of various Barrett family members reinforce the idea of their poop-colored hair, contrasting with Kina's light hair. Kina Barit explains that it is not strange for the Pope family to be in the Saintess's relic storage because, as the head of all clergies, it belongs to their family. Kina Barrett defiantly states she's claiming what's hers, unfazed by questions from nearby children. Isaac smugly thinks Kina Barrett's arrogance confirms her Pope family lineage while he continues to drink from a bottle. Kina Barrett radiates powerful holy energy, shocking onlookers, as a voice confirms her immense power, exceeding a bishop's. Isaac expresses disdain, considering it pathetic for saint candidates to use such vulgar tactics to humiliate their host. Kina Barrett scoffs, questioning the futility of harassing a baby, while other children observe the scene in stunned silence. As Kina Barrett approaches, a voice asserts that a baby cannot possess poison resistance, suggesting the Saintess's power must be protecting Isaac. Kina Barrett mockingly attributes Isaac's poison resistance to the Saintess's protection, then internally comments that foolishness appears to be a family trait for him. Kina Barrett smiles gently, projecting golden light, expressing pity for Isaac, and promising to detoxify him. Isaac looks surprised as Kina Barrett attempts a holy detoxification spell on him, while others marvel at her impressive 5th-rank holy power. Isaac suspects a trick. Kina Barrett holds Isaac, thinking he's clever for trying to exploit her skills, but suggests he needs more than just wit. Isaac vocalizes and suddenly slaps Kina Barrett's face, surprising her with the unexpected attack. Kina Barrett stares in disbelief, her face marked, as others notice her holy power has mysteriously vanished. Kina Barrett is left reeling, questioning how a mere child could nullify her holy power, while Isaac happily babbles, "Dada." Kina Barrett's eyes widen in horror, questioning if Isaac could possibly be stronger than her. Kina Barrett glares at Isaac, who casually looks away, and she angrily refers to him as a Joshua insect. Isaac looks defiant, with a smug expression, verbally challenging Kina Barrett about her intense stare. Kina Barrett threatens to bash Isaac's skull with a bottle, as he sends an intervening child flying, who cries out in pain. Other children comment on Isaac's unruly behavior, questioning if Kina Barrett is showing favoritism after he slaps someone trying to help him. Isaac, held by a boy, declares he saved them from bottles to the head, while the boy questions his ability to protect them. Kina Barrett smiles, dismissing the incident and noting that Isaac is still just a baby, despite his surprising actions. Kina Barrett waves farewell to the Joshua children, wishing them luck but subtly mocking them about saving face, annoying the boy holding Isaac. Kina Barrett, with a sinister smile, asserts that the best treasure within the relic storage will undoubtedly be hers. Kina Barrett proclaims that Joshua cannot approach the Skeleton King's body, shocking Isaac and the boy holding him. The brown-haired boy reacts with disgust and anger at Kina Barrett's words, while Isaac babbles, making the boy wonder what the damned bastard said. The brown-haired boy violently shakes Isaac, demanding to know what was said about the Skeleton King's body, and tells Isaac to stop moving. The brown-haired boy frantically reveals the family head promised a secret technique to whoever retrieves the Skeleton King's body, as Isaac stares intently. Isaac bangs his fist on the ground, expressing frustration and thinking of Melissa with annoyance. Isaac imagines a festive skeleton adorned with a bow and roses, likely the coveted Skeleton King's body. Children are scattered across the grand hall, some sitting amidst discarded bottles, as the Joshua residence banquet hall fills with activity. Isaac looks utterly bored and unimpressed with his surroundings. A skeletal king reveals his immense power, stating he has centuries of mana accumulated, which could easily grant him 10th rank. Isaac and other children look worried, realizing it will be impossible to sneak out the Skeleton King's body with so many people watching. Isaac sighs, inwardly resolving to overcome any obstacle by stepping over anyone in his path. Isaac's intense eyes are shown as he decisively commands everyone to gather up. A man in religious robes addresses the gathered children, instructing them to listen carefully as they are about to depart. The man explains that the relic storage is a holy sanctuary, containing items from previous saintesses. Isaac looks bored, lamenting that the man's historical speech is delaying their departure, finding it tedious. Isaac abruptly gets up and declares he's leaving, surprising the brown-haired boy who tries to stop him. Isaac creates a massive dust cloud as he dashes away, causing the brown-haired boy to scream, "Ah!" A man gasps in surprise at Isaac's high-speed movement, as Isaac gleefully announces he's about to use a newly learned holy spell. The man frantically warns Isaac that the area is restricted, and entering will activate the storage trap, terrifying the other children. Isaac sprints past other children, sweeping them up in his wake, as someone shouts to stop him. A grand visual shows the Joshua Residence Banquet Hall, bustling with guests and ornate architecture. Isaac's uncle and a woman observe the hall, with the uncle expressing concern for the young master's well-being. Man announces that a connection to the relic storage interior has been established, displaying a glowing blue orb. The man explains that familiars are following the candidates in third place to provide information, showing bat familiars within the blue orb. The man announces the storage door is open and candidates are entering, surprising Isaac's uncle. The man announces Arminage is in third place, prompting Count Simonage to cry out, "Wah!" for his son. The man announces Shuri Joshua is in second place, causing the brown-haired boy to exclaim in surprise and pride. The man pauses, about to announce the first place winner, as Isaac's uncle and the woman watch expectantly. Isaac's uncle and a woman look surprised as Isaac, a tiny child, swiftly runs away, leaving a dust trail and surprising everyone with his speed. A voice exclaims that it is Isaac Joshua. The man in robes, likely the Joshua elder, screams in horror for Isaac to stop, desperately pleading for him not to go to that dangerous place. A close-up shows a foot hitting the ground with a thump as the man warns that more traps will activate, while an ominous fiery figure appears, and the brown-haired boy shouts, "Ah!" for the elder. Other children scream in fear, some falling over and crying for help or their mommy, as bright magical energy emanates from various traps, highlighting the danger Isaac unleashed. The brown-haired boy screams in frustration, calling Isaac a lunatic and demanding to know why he would cause such a mess by going into the restricted area. A hand is shown bracing against the ground, as a voice explains that the storage trial is already life-threatening, and now they must also avoid traps set for intruders too. Da! Isaac stands before a large, ornate door, with on-screen text confirming the second trap has activated, and he's entering the side door of the second storage, while a tiny, panicked, brown-haired boy screams for Isaac to not go there. Isaac happily sits as his shadowy familiar, now glowing purple, thanks him for absorbing mana and reports being promoted, while Isaac internally acknowledges he can work harder, and then mutters, "Damn it." Isaac instructs his shadowy familiar to go get all of them, and the familiar enthusiastically charges forward, leaving a purple trail. The shadowy familiar rushes past the other children, who remark on how difficult this unexpected situation has become. The brown-haired boy explains that this difficulty is why the scientist is very strong, while the dark-haired boy next to him looks confused. A character's hand points towards a glowing figure floating above, wondering if it's the Joshua kid. The brown-haired boy recognizes the floating figure as the Joshua kid, attempting to recall his name, Shu, something. One boy questions how he is flying, suggesting his family taught him, claiming it's unfair, while the brown-haired boy internally dismisses their foolishness. The Joshua kid, Shuri, floats against his will, demanding to be put down, as the shadowy familiar happily hovers behind him. The shadowy familiar proudly tells Isaac that it has secured the informant, as Shuri falls to the ground with a loud gag. Shuri, now on the ground, frantically yells for Isaac to stop this madness, warning that while he passed the first storage trial, one mistake in the second could be fatal. Shuri explains that they must fight their fear and choose a difficult path, but Isaac dismisses him as noisy as a fiery figure from a trap emerges. Isaac, annoyed, tells the still prone Shuri to explain what's in the second storage, as Shuri groans in frustration. Shuri urgently warns Isaac not to attack any enemies once they enter the storage, repeating his command for emphasis. Isaac questions why he shouldn't attack enemies, while a terrified Shuri explains it's the only way to pass, instructing Isaac to stay put for 3 minutes until enemies disappear. Shuri desperately demands Isaac confirm he understands, warning that both will die otherwise, while Isaac internally finds the situation a cliché test of his patience. Shuri warns that someone actually died from this trial, as Isaac acknowledges his words, thinking it's nothing hard anyway. Isaac confirms he just has to not attack, thinking 3 minutes shouldn't be a problem, leaning against a wall. A hand appears on the floor as glowing lines emanate, with a message welcoming them to the floor of equanimity. Isaac sits calmly, as golden light fills the scene, a message proclaiming that patience is a virtue and that keeping calm will lead to light. Isaac looks up, wide-eyed and resolute, as the golden light intensifies, with a message stating that his patience shall lead him to the light. A single foot is seen stepping forward with a thump, marking the progression. Kina Barrett and her group stand within the grand hall, with the other children expressing concern about being last. A boy expresses concern about being last, questioning if this is fine. Kina Barrett smiles deviously, stating there's no reason for them to walk a dangerous path, as meat shields can do it for them. Kina Barrett reminds her companions that an 8th rank demonkin stands at the second storage entrance, confidently asserting those ahead will be stuck there. Kina Barrett triumphantly says, "See," as a bright light flashes behind her, surprising another child. Kina Barrett smiles menacingly, pointing forward and proclaiming that the trial has begun. A powerful golden light emanates from large, ornate doors, signaling the activation of the trial. Isaac's expression suggests determination as a floating message commands him, "Do not falter," while Shuri kneels behind him, looking concerned. A close-up of a smiling man with long blonde hair and golden earrings suggests a devious or confident demeanor. The smiling man, radiating golden light, extends his hand, stating that patience will lead to the light. The man's serene expression turns menacing as he warns of consequences if not, while a fiery, monstrous shadow appears behind him. A shocked Shuri reacts, but Isaac dismisses the time limit, claiming it was 3 seconds. Isaac complains, as another character is seen distressed on the floor, and Isaac internally thinks 3 minutes shouldn't be a problem, while another panel shows him lying down, resigned. "Ah, you lunatic!" The shadowy familiar warns Isaac as Isaac rushes forward, generating dark energy, internally asking how one could stay patient after seeing a god's face. Isaac sits with clenched fists, his shadowy familiar by his side, stating that 3 seconds was long enough. Various panels declare, "You have failed," and warn, to those who could not endure, culminating in a terrifying command for divine punishment. Isaac and Shuri look up in terror as a massive, fiery, rock-like creature emerges, ready to deliver divine punishment with a powerful glue. A terrified Shuri declares it's over, and he's done for as Isaac sits stoically, a mysterious red energy emanating from his hand. Isaac's eyes glow with intense red energy, and powerful red lightning crackles around him, signaling his activation of some ability. Isaac unleashes a devastating red energy blast, disintegrating the fiery monster, as Shuri stares in wide-eyed shock at the powerful attack. Whoa! A huge explosion of red energy engulfs the area, destroying the monster as Isaac casually brushes debris from his eye, and Shuri wonders what that thing was. Rocks crumble and fall from the ceiling, creating dust, while Isaac and Shuri are shown amidst the debris. Isaac looks at the destruction, thinking this is 8th rank, and finding it hard to believe. A blonde man looks strained, revealing his subordinate's magic created the golem. Elite demonkin familiars of the Skeleton King are shown with unique magic, as a thought bubble questions if they serve the Joshua family. The brown-haired boy shouts in alarm as Isaac crawls determinedly away, proclaiming he will see for himself. A character is ironically pleased the Joshua family boys are inadvertently helping them, while the brown-haired boy looks perplexed. A hand pushes through dense green foliage, indicating movement or stealth. Nizar Sepet, a red-haired boy, triumphantly declares that the Joshuas knew how to pass the trial as he stands among other children. Nizar Sepet smugly thanks Isaac for defeating the gatekeeper, then orders the Joshua family members to move aside so his group can enter the second storage first. A character observes the brown-haired boy and Isaac, noting the presence of survivors, while a voice warns that entering now would trigger additional traps. Nizar Sepet angrily confronts the brown-haired boy, accusing Joshua's children of a vile act. The brown-haired boy vehemently denies working with Isaac, looking bewildered by the accusation while Isaac sits unconcerned. The brown-haired boy insists they are not working together, while a voice asks if Isaac could have dodged all the traps on his own. A glowing artifact on Isaac's chest is highlighted, with a voice proclaiming it as proof that he used an artifact. A hand aggressively grasps Isaac's clothing, as a voice assumes his ring must be imbued with a powerful ability. Nizer Sepet excitedly claims Isaac's artifact will let them dodge all traps, while the brown-haired boy thinks Nizer has completely misunderstood the situation. Isaac remains surprisingly calm, prompting another character to express anxiety over his stillness, believing he won't allow others to take advantage of him. Nizer Sepet and his group confidently stride past the Joshua children, instructing them to stay behind. Nizer Sepet boasts that he, the third son of the Crimson Dukal family, will be the first to successfully retrieve the Skeleton King's body. Nizer Sepet gleefully charges forward, his name triumphantly declared. Nizer Sepet smiles confidently, then looks confused as a bright light envelops him, with a red-eyed child faintly visible behind him. Fire erupts surround Nizer Sepet and the other children, who scream as a dangerous trap is activated. The brown-haired boy frantically realizes it's a trap, bewildered by the chaos, and calls out Isaac's name in despair. The blonde boy with red eyes smiles ominously, revealing he intentionally used the others as bait. The dusty environment is filled with falling debris, emphasizing the aftermath of the triggered traps. The brown-haired boy carries Isaac through the second storage, stepping over other fallen children, as Isaac's shadowy familiar floats behind them. Carried by the brown-haired boy, Isaac grins, declaring all minds eliminated thanks to the others, with Nizer Sepet lying defeated nearby. Isaac's eyes glow with an irritated red energy. The brown-haired boy looks overwhelmed as Isaac wonders why other children are still following them. A boy remarks on Isaac's seeming divine sense, speculating it stems from his Saintus family lineage. Isaac, looking displeased, hears his familiar proclaim others recognize his greatness, but he internally rejects their admiration. Carried by the brown-haired boy, Isaac is warned that he is scarier than any Demonkin, urging others to flee. The brown-haired boy, carrying Isaac, muses that Isaac embodies what a true saint would be like. A smiling blonde boy introduces himself as Paris Julius, the second prince of the Julius kingdom. Isaac looks surprised, learning that Paris Julius is a blessed prince from a kingdom east of the Holy Hellen Empire, and internally finds the information useful. The brown-haired boy looks scared as Isaac grabs his head, leaving him confused. Isaac stands before an imposing, ornate door to the third storage, announcing their arrival. A brilliant golden orb emits light, welcoming the candidates to the next trial. A winged figure emerges in golden light, declaring the area the floor of remembrance, with other children visible below. The winged figure commands the candidates to demonstrate courage and determination. The brown-haired boy and others express relief at following Isaac and declare their intention to claim the Skeleton King's body. A hooded figure holding a staff declares the trial's simplicity: defeat them to achieve glory. Two boys debate whether to fight, while Isaac, with glowing red eyes, looks like he recognizes the gatekeeper. Isaac's red eye smiles, confirming his recognition of the gatekeeper. Isaac grins menacingly, anticipating the coming challenge will be entertaining. The black-haired boy and the brown-haired boy react with shock, calling out Isaac's name. Isaac, held by the brown-haired boy, asserts that Isaac's past decisions were correct, and the gatekeepers are dishonest. The first storage tested choice, which Isaac sprinted through, and the second tested equanimity, which Isaac failed to maintain. The third storage, the floor of remembrance, requires candidates to recall the lessons from the first and second trials. The brown-haired boy, looking both determined and scared, declares they cannot attack the opponents. Isaac commands everyone to retreat, surprising the brown-haired boy who notes Isaac's unusual decision to do the right thing this time. The brown-haired boy speculates that despite Isaac's cunning, his Saintus lineage might be causing him to act kindly. The brown-haired boy holds a small glowing orb, reflecting on his misunderstanding of Isaac, who sits happily on his shoulders. A powerful, glowing winged figure appears, shocking the brown-haired boy, who dismisses its perceived sacrifice with a cry. The brown-haired boy looks bewildered while carrying a blissfully laughing Isaac on his shoulders. A hooded figure tightly grips a staff, ominously addressing an unseen presence. The hooded figure declares that someone has chosen the wrong path. The hooded figure unleashes a fiery attack, causing the brown-haired boy and another child to react in terror. Fire erupts, sending a child flying while the brown-haired boy screams for help. Amidst fiery explosions, the brown-haired boy, carrying Isaac, questions the chaotic scene unfolding around them. The brown-haired boy looks utterly bewildered and stunned by the situation. Isaac, perched on the brown-haired boy's shoulders, gleefully calls him a lunatic. Isaac smiles, remarking that it's been a while since he witnessed such events. Two hooded lying puppets, created by magic, reveal that trusting their words was foolish for the saint candidates. Isaac laughs maliciously on the brown-haired boy's shoulders, delighting in showing others life's cruelty, much to the brown-haired boy's dismay. Explosions and fire engulf the area, accompanied by children's desperate screams. Children panic, searching frantically for the Joshuas, who have vanished from sight. Isaac and the brown-haired boy become translucent, revealing Isaac's use of a 6th-rank holy spell for invisibility. Isaac, looking pleased, explains that his uncle blessed him with the invisibility spell for a critical moment, happy to use it now. The blonde boy thanks Isaac for casting the holy spell on him too, while Isaac dismisses his gratitude. Isaac gives the blonde boy a ring, who looks confused, asking what it is. The blonde boy holds the glowing ring, questioning its identity. The blonde boy asks if Isaac is giving him the ring because he's not used to fighting Demonkin, as Isaac grins mischievously. The blonde boy thanks Isaac, promising not to forget his kindness, as the ring glows, absorbing power. The blonde boy screams in pain as the ring's power overwhelms him. Isaac and his familiar laugh victoriously, noting that the prince had the most holy power. The brown-haired boy, carrying Isaac, questions what kind of monster his uncle brought into their family. Someone calls for the group to gather, asking if anyone can use defensive holy power. Bang! The brown-haired boy declares he will use his defensive holy power first, urging others to stay behind him as he prepares to block an attack. Bam! The hooded figure menacingly commands them to accept their punishment. A black-haired boy shouts a warning as the brown-haired boy prepares to confront the approaching threat. The brown-haired boy collapses on the ground after his attempt, shocking the black-haired boy. Goo. The black-haired boy panics over the brown-haired boy's pain groans on the floor. Ugh! The black-haired boy looks bewildered as the glowing red ring floats nearby. The black-haired boy is surprised as the hooded figure attacks, knocking him back. Go! The hooded figure looks on with a contemplative expression. The hooded figure sarcastically asks if anyone else fell for their lies, as the brown-haired boy lies unconscious and the ring floats. Isaac's familiar explains that the ring absorbed the children's holy power, and Isaac agrees to move forward. Isaac's familiar floats past two seemingly controlled children, while the hooded figure is in the background. Isaac's familiar assures a boy that the lying puppet won't attack neutralized enemies, advising him not to feel wronged. The hooded figure clarifies that passing out from drained holy power is preferable to physical injury. Isaac's familiar reports that the process is nearly complete, as golden energy emanates from a fallen boy. A ball of intense, golden, fiery energy forms, surprising Isaac's familiar. A being materializes from the golden energy, causing Isaac's familiar to shriek in alarm. Kai! Isaac's familiar reacts in surprise, as two dark figures are launched by the sudden burst of energy. Erg! Ek! Isaac, glowing with power, smiles as he steps on his shadowy familiar, declaring he has found someone. Isaac, crackling with golden energy and lightning, smiles confidently, identifying his target as Isaac Joshua. The brown-haired boy, carrying a surprised Isaac, realizes that the familiar means the real Isaac has finally appeared. The brown-haired boy looks completely astounded, acknowledging Isaac's genius but overwhelmed by this new revelation. Massive, fiery golden wings unfurl with impressive power. Isaac, now with golden wings and radiating energy, smiles, confirming he has summoned a Holy Spirit. A character with gray hair acknowledges Isaac, expressing surprise that someone else could defeat a Damonkin besides themselves. The white-haired boy with gleaming eyes smirked, asking if he had trapped the other children in this trial too, just like the previous one. The white-haired boy's smirk continued as two other boys, looking horrified, quickly exclaimed, "No!" The two boys, clinging to each other in fear, revealed that another child helped them through the trial by guiding them. One boy called their helper a benefactor, causing a shadowy figure to muse if this situation was what people called Stockholm Syndrome. The white-haired boy smirked dismissively, questioning the candidate's pride for needing a mere baby's help to pass the trial. One boy, visibly upset, yelled back that the white-haired boy had done nothing but hide while they braved the traps. The other boys, rallying around Isaac, declared him a true saint and threatened to report the white-haired boy to their parents once they were out. The angry boy insisted Isaac did everything, while another suggested following the Joshua family, leading a shadowy figure to comment on the devilish baby leeching off them. As the white-haired boy seemed to ready an attack, a terrified boy declared they'd be in serious trouble without Isaac. Terrified, the boys watched in horror as a fiery orb shot downwards, threatening to engulf them all in its explosive power. The dusty ground showed remnants of the attack as the air crackled with residual energy. The boys gazed up at a massive door, realizing it led to the third storage and questioning if their second trial had finally concluded. A colossal, glowing orb congratulated the candidates for passing the second trial, revealing itself as the final gatekeeper of the relic storage. The powerful glowing orb presented a stark choice to the gathered candidates. The white-haired boy stood among the murmuring candidates as the voice offered a choice: claim their treasure and end the trial, or face another challenge for the third storage. One boy eagerly chose to continue, but the voice ominously interrupted, urging them to choose wisely. The voice reiterated the profound choice to the candidates: either conclude their journey with a treasure or risk facing a new trial for the third storage. The voice from the glowing orb promised treasures in the third storage upon passing the trial, but hinted at grave consequences for failure. "You will die," the voice stated flatly, leaving the boys shocked and terrified at the sudden, grim warning. The red-eyed boy sensed the voice's mana, confirming it belonged to a dragon, a rare sight he hadn't encountered in a while. The red-eyed boy, processing the immense power, grimly concluded the dragon's death threat was undoubtedly true. The two boys, determined to become saints, declared their resolve to face the trial despite the inherent dangers. The boys, excitedly murmuring, affirmed their desire to proceed to the third storage, eager for the next challenge. The glowing orb echoed the candidates' determination, recognizing their decision to face the trial despite the clear dangers. Very well. The voice boomed, commanding them to face the trial, leaving the gathered boys visibly terrified.